Yo, welcome to Protoss Platinum 3. Guys, we are getting there. All we gotta do now is we gotta go Plat, Diamond, Master League. We have 3 leagues left to advance through to get the GM. We're almost there. We're getting to the halfway point. So, bro, guys, it's happening. We got Crunk Monk. Oh, Crunk Monk, how you doing, dude? So now, guys, now that we're in Plat, we're gonna once again be ramping it up again a little bit more. You gotta know this. I always will say this, but I'll say it in every video because I know there's probably a lot of people out there that will not watch every video out of this series.
You have not enough minerals.
A lot of people will not watch every video out of this series. Okay, that's very common. I understand that. I will say this. I think you should watch every video out of this series because if you're someone who's like, ViBE, I'm stuck in Plat, but I'm gonna wait for you to get Plat because everything you're talking about before Plat doesn't apply because I'm not bronze. So I don't want to watch your bronze videos. I think you should. So if you're someone who's right now listening to this going, I'm Plat, I'm not a bronze player, I will not degrade myself to go to Bronze League for you. Do it. Because I guarantee you'll learn something. You know what you learn? You learn this one right here. Developing your habits. Sorry, I deleted the other one. Priorities and habits. I deleted the priorities thing because we already know that now. But yeah, you'll learn priorities and habits. It's great. It'll help you a lot. But if you're stubborn and you're like, no, I don't want it, that's okay. Don't have to do that. It's fine. You can do whatever you want. You're your own boss. But what we're doing now is we're doing everything we've learned before, plus now we're going to do a little bit of a deeper understanding as to what our opponent is doing with his build. And right now we can see someone going 1 gas, 1 barracks. This is a highly common expansion style opening. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for the expansion, and there it is. Why is that, you might ask? Because he didn't take 2 gases. Anyone who doesn't take 2 gases can easily take more production. If they don't take more production, it's an expansion. It's the only thing that makes sense. Because otherwise, what are they doing with all that extra minerals? Now, if there wasn't an expansion and there was also no extra production and there was also no gas, that might be the time when you might want to scout for a proxy. Just throwing that out there. He gave me a love heart. I'll put a tattoo on it next to it. GG. Okay, so anyways, it's going back into the standard style game for now. This game is developing back into a standard opener. Where's my announcer? I don't think I have one. I don't think I set that up. It doesn't matter. It's okay. We're going back into, you know, making our probes, building our boys, getting our units going. We can get our saturated bases properly going. We can grab 4 probes off, send them to my natural. We can grab 1 probe off, and we can start a robo and a second gateway because we can easily afford all of our production now, so we can ramp it up a little bit, as we've talked about before. Keep chrono boosting, my boys, my proby boys. And when our sentry pops out, he's going to become our new scouter. Remember how we talked about sentries are going to become part of our build now? With scouting purposes of hallucinations. This will tell us if we need to prepare for an all-in or if we need to prepare for, expanding further. And we have plenty of time to react to whatever he could do. Even though we're blind right this second, as long as we just utilize the current production we have, there is nothing we should be afraid of. And the reason why is because we know he expanded. If he didn't expand, I would be a little bit more active about wanting to scout a little bit faster. Maybe we'd be running a probe around the map being like, what are you actually doing? Something like that. Okay, here comes the hallucinated phoenix. Right click is natural, shift click is main, and we'll go to it as soon as we see the mini map when it gets close to his base, and then we can kind of control it for a second.
I'm here.
So we're reacting to what we're seeing. Just throw a couple more pounds on my base down. Keep making probes. Okay, phoenix is here. Let's control it for a sec. Fly around. We see tank. We see tank. We see 2 factories. We see 3rd CC. Okay, he looks like he's actually doing like the BDGM build for Terran. That's what that looks like. So let's go ahead and expand again. There's no reason why we don't want to do that. It would make no sense to sit here on 2 bases at this point if we just guaranteed we should be expanding. And because he has a 3rd CC, that also guarantees we can take a 4th base. Not right this second, but we can keep saturating to a 4th base and we can be fine. He is not going for any type of an early game timing. It's guaranteed. Anyone who makes bases like this is not going to attack you really fast. So we're fine. We can macro our asses off. Let's go ahead and build a pylon at our 3rd base. We can make our gases at our 3rd. And let's grab some probes. Let's fix our saturation. Send 2 back. And we'll just send all these probes. Look at all these probes, boys. Look at all these probes we got. They're all going down to mine that shit. That's great. It's glorious. Keep producing out of my production and all that good stuff. And now let's send another Hussein Phoenix at him. This time we're going to scout for this base, shift this base, shift the main, shift the natural, whatever. We're just scouting for future bases. Keep producing units. And around this point too, we can start getting ready to add in. Well, first let's look at the scout. Keep producing units, keep producing probes. Don't miss that. His 3rd is just getting saturated. He's got another 4th command center. He's got 2 more factories. He's literally doing the BDGM build, which is fine. But that means that now that he's got a 4th command center, again, that's even more reinforcement for us to now guarantee take our 4th base too. We have no problem with that. What's our probe count? 73. Good shit. Let's write down our upgrades, because look at our gas. It's getting pretty high, right? So now we can also get ready with this upgrade building. We can get ready to start making Archons as well. Keep making units. Don't stop making units. Don't stop making probes. Probe count 77. We're almost there.
I'm here in the shadows.
And we're able to still spend all our money. And now the probe count is going to be at 82. We're done. 82 is fine. 82 works. So now let's go through our mineral lines and grab excess probes. Excess probes. Grab more. Perfect. Send them over to my 4th base. We can build gases. We can build a couple pylons. Grab another probe. Probes count is good. And now my money's getting out of control, right? My money's starting to get high. So let's get our upgrades. We can chrono boost our upgrades. We can get an Archon building. And now we can throw down more gates and more robos. Let's take ourselves up to like 3 robos. And then just throw down some extra gates. And now, again, we are done producing probes. So that cost is gone. So, gate, gateway, 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 gateway. Just make gates. We can also chrono our forges. Check my base really fast over here because we just saturated it. Let's go ahead and get some gas probes on it. And since we're still depleting mineral fields, let's take another base. Because we'll have to send probes that are getting mined out over there eventually. Make more gates. Gateway, gateway. Let's grab 2 probes off this mineral line and send them over here again. Another gateway, another gateway. Chrono the upgrades, chrono the upgrades. And make maybe like another gateway. Now stop. Now let's count it, right? We have just made 14 gates and 3 robos. That's fine. That sounds good to me. I like it. We can make a couple more pylons because we're getting close to supply blocking. And now look at our gas, look at our minerals. Very bad ratio. Tons of gas, no minerals. Let's just start making some more fresh pylon fields. Let's make a bunch of Templar. Our gateways are capped out for a second, so let's go back and do something else. Look at our upgrades. Let's go ahead and start. 222. Look at 2 probes, grab them. The space is good. Let's send them over here then. Also, while we're making like Archons now and spinning all of our gas, remember, we can do something like this now too. We can look at our bases and be like, okay, let's prepare for the later stages. What if this guy does some crazy things like Hellion harasses me or Banshees or something? Just like 2 cannons and a battery at every base. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just space them out so you don't block your minerals up. And 1 more. And now look at my minerals and gas again. Because I just did that, I have a lot of gas and no minerals. It's perfect time to make some more Archons. And now let's go ahead and take our sentry. Throw another scout out there. Let's scout other further out expansions. So we're scouting here, here. We're going to go down, and we're going to scout here and here. We just want to see where his furthest, most exposed bases are. We want to see where would be a good location to attack, because we're about to attack. Okay, there's a base right there. Let's go ahead and get ready to fuck that base up. Select my whole army. Make Archons out of my last Templar, just to make sure we have them. Wait for these Archons to finish. And while we're kind of waiting, we Chrono Booster upgrades. Now we can go a move here, shift, a move here, shift, a move there, 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 there. And call it a day for now, because we're maxed and we can't really do anything right now. We're just kind of making sure we have enough stuff. This is a lot of gates. We could even throw in maybe a few more. Maybe like 4 more. Excuse me. Take us up to like, you know, like 20 or 18 gates. Now let's look at our army just for a second. Alright, look, it's looking like a pretty decent spot. We're not really microing still. We're just kind of paying attention to, is this going to be is this fight looking like shit or is it looking okay? So now let's start making Immortals. Let's start making Colossus. Or sorry, making Immortals and Stalkers again. Because it works for now. And then also go upgrades. Upgrade, upgrade, upgrade. Chrono, chrono, chrono. Oh, what? Okay, and what does he have? He's got a lot of Thors still. And, yeah. Good stuff. Make some more Stalkers. If we were to see, okay, like Thors, and Thors and Hellbats, we're okay to make things like Archon, Stalker, Immortal. That's fine. Because he's going Hellbats. But if instead, GG. Instead, if he were to make something like mass tanks, let's just say instead of walking into a bunch of Hellbats, let's say we walked into a bunch of siege tanks. Instead of making Stalker, Archon, Immortal, we could switch up one simple thing and we could go into Charge Lot, Archon, Immortal. And suddenly, if there's not really a lot of Hellbats and now there's a lot of tanks, our army does way better. We knew he was going mech the whole time because we kept scouting tons of factories. But if we saw tanks, we could change our composition a little bit to something that's more ideal. And one of the 2 things we could do against somebody who goes heavy tank would be, again, we could go Charge Lots with the other units we have, just no Stalkers. Another thing we could do would be we could just start adding on maybe like Stargates. Add on some Stargates and go like Tempest or something. And then we could just have a way where we could like start picking the tanks apart if there's a ton of tanks. So anyways, backing this game up, we're gonna really, we kind of just like talked about, you know, the game as we played it, but now we're gonna talk about scouting a little bit more intricately, a little bit more elaborate scouting. The main thing we're trying to discover right now, the main thing in Platinum League, I want you guys to be able to like figure out basically, is I want you to be able to look at a game that you're playing, and I want you to know, like, I want you to be able to figure out, am I ahead or am I behind? Like, is this a good or a bad position for me? And the way you do that is you compare your opponent's build to your own build with things that have happened. So you have to have like a mental note checklist to things that have happened. So right now, we see, if we're comparing, okay? Right now we see depot, barracks, gas, no gas. Okay? So we're comparing his build to our build. Our build is pylon, gateway, gas, no gas. It's the exact same thing. Barracks costs the same as a gateway. If you don't know that, you should know that. It's 150 minerals. Pylon and depot cost the same amount of minerals. They're both 100. A gas, a refinery for Terran and an assimilator for Protoss cost the same thing. They both cost 75. So what this means is if we think about it, when his build is compared to our build, what is our goal right now? Our goal is we're going to save up 400 minerals to expand. We should be expecting him to do the same thing. It makes sense. So even though I haven't seen the expansion yet, I should already be expecting it, because his build and my build are identical so far. The only reason why I have more supply is because Protoss has Chrono Boost, and I can make a little bit more probes faster. So we make our natural, and we're kind of expecting our Protoss or our Terran opponent to make his natural, which he does. And we confirm it. We just look for a second just to make sure he does. Because once again, like we talked about earlier, if he does not make this natural, I could very easily run my probe back into his main base. And if I still see he's on 1 gas, and I run around his base and I see no production anywhere, there's like no barracks here, no barracks, no barracks. He's not hiding anything. I could then maybe take this probe and like run around over here a little bit, and maybe run around over here a little bit, just to make sure there's not like 2 extra barracks or 3 extra barracks. Because if there was no command center, what is he doing with all that money? You know what I mean? Something is going on with that money somewhere. Or he might even be proxying a command center somewhere. Like he might be trying to hide a base. Yeah, like you have to kind of expect their money to be going somewhere if you're comparing your build to theirs, and his build was identical to ours up until the point when we didn't see the command center. Like it was the same thing. But then once we confirm the command center, now it is guaranteed the same thing. So the second we see this, we know for like seriously the next like 3 minutes of this game, we are not going to get attacked. We are fine. We can just make our economy. We don't have to worry about anything, because this now guarantees this is a macro build. You can't just make this command center, have my probe leave, and then cancel it, and then suddenly go for an all-in. Because even if he were to do that, we could still make just with macro, even if we keep the Nexus and we just make units as they come, we would still hold that. Because the window of time for him to all in is gone now, because he's delayed his production so long because he made a command center. I hope that makes sense. Like all in window it's mute. It doesn't matter anymore. If he's not already like done with barracks somewhere on the map to all in me, that window is no longer there. By the time he then would make barracks, he can't just suddenly kill me later, because I'd have too much later anyways. This is the thing we talked about in all the previous leagues that we've done so far. Like macro just trumps fucking somebody who doesn't have an efficient build. Yo, by the way, Deep and Fast, thank you very much for the 6-month resub. Welcome back, dude. Welcome back. Thank you, thank you. So now we're going back home, and we're not worrying about what's going on at his base anymore, because again, for all the reasons we just talked about, we're fine. We don't have to be like, oh god, what's he doing? We know what he's doing. He's expanding. So now we're going to go ahead and set up our own base. I don't know why my probe's sitting there. We're going to set up our own base further. Standard. We're making probes. We're chrono boosting probes. We are making production. We're going to add on more production because, again, we can afford everything right now. We're never going to not produce out of what we currently have, so we can add more on. ViBE, why don't you warp on a super pylon? I don't know why I read that question, because I do. And there's our sentry freaking out. So yeah, the build is standard, right? The sentry is we're waiting on energy for it, right? We are waiting on energy for it, which is a hallucination, which is 75. All hallucinations cost the same. We're waiting on the Phoenix. The reason why we choose the Phoenix, if you guys are wondering, is because out of every single choice here, a Phoenix flies the fastest. So because every hallucination is also the exact same amount of time. They all last for 43 seconds. So a Phoenix, it actually moves at Phoenix speed. So it moves the fastest out of everything here. And the fact that it's also a flying unit means we can bypass things like his wall, and we can get in and really scout a lot of his base. In terms of just scouting, it is by far the most efficient scout. You can do things as well, like you can maybe hallucinate like an oracle and really kind of mess with your opponent's head to make them think, oh god, it's an oracle. But if we're not really trying to do something weird like that, if we're just trying to scout, Phoenix is always your best go-to choice, for sure. Because again, it covers the most distance in the time that it lasts, because it is a timed unit. So we make the Phoenix and we go over there and we scout out what's going on. This is going to be our next indicator as to what's going on in this game. And meanwhile, we are still just producing out of our standard production that we always normally make. This is exactly what I'm saying. If this guy were to do some weird type of late all-in, because we're maintaining production, we don't have to worry about something like that. But we do want to pay attention now to what his follow-up of his build will be. And so far, we see a siege tank. Seeing a siege tank, it means the Terran is already in a defensive posture. This is a very fast siege tank. You're never going to push with siege tanks by themselves. And the fact that he has a siege tank this fast means that it is a siege tank by itself. This is way too fast. Because if we compare his build to our build, okay, and we go, okay, what have we done? We expanded, we made probes, he's made SCVs, and what do we have to show for it? We have 2 stalkers and a sentry. You can make stalkers faster than you can make a tank. I'm just going to throw that out there right now because you can tech a little bit faster as Protoss. But he already has a tank when we have a couple stalkers. And then we scout further into his base and we see a second tank. Now, this is guaranteed, okay? This is 6 supply. If you guys, again, if you don't know how much supply things cost, you should start learning that. Each stalker is 2 supply. Each sentry is 2 supply. So in total, we have 6 supply here. Each siege tank is 3 supply. And he has 2 siege tanks already. So we have matching army sizes right now. Stalker, sentry versus 2 tanks. It's matching army supplies. This guarantee now that he has 2 tanks, this even more so guarantees a defensive posture. Because if this dude were to push out with just 2 isolated tanks, they would show up, they would siege, I would walk into siege range, and then the tanks would die. It would be the worst attack ever. So this tells us he has no intention of attacking us. It reinforces the fact that we should take a 3rd base. And then we scout further into his base. We see a factory. We see a 3rd command center. So seeing things like the tanks is a little bit of an indicator that it's like, well, he's only making tanks right now. We're safe. The even bigger one though, this is the seeing the leprechaun in the woods. You're like, oh, I found it. I found the pot of gold, baby. This is what we were looking for. A 3rd base. You know why all he has right now is 1 factory and a 2nd factory on the way? It's because he has a 3rd command center. This guy has absolutely no intention of attacking us right now. 0. If you see this kind of a player, and again, we're basing it off of our build, okay? We're not just looking at this and going, I don't fucking know. He's got stuff. No, that's not how you should look at it. You should look at it based off of your build. What have we been doing? We've been macroing, and what do we have to show for it? We have 1 robo, 2 gateways, and 2 nexuses with full saturation. So the trade-off is he has 1 factory and a 2nd one started. We have 2 buildings producing units. He only has 1. And now we have a 3rd building producing units as well, and which is a higher tech unit. So we have 1 tech building and we have 2 standard buildings. He has literally 1 tech building producing units. The equivalent of his build to our build would be if we literally only made 1 gate, because he made 1 barracks over here. If we only made 1 gate, and then we went immediately into a robo, and we made like 2 mortals, and then we took a 3rd base really fast. That would be the equivalent of what he's done. Okay? So we actually are going to be producing army at a faster pace than he is, and the reason why is because he took a 3rd instead. So again, this once again tells us this Terran is being really, really greedy. So we should take a 3rd base, because we have no intentions of all-inning him either. We're not, like, but you could, right? I could actually right now throw down like 8 gateways if I wanted to, and just make a warp prism and warp into his base. That is an option. If I scout this, that is an option, because his production right now is very limited. But we're not going for things like that right now. We're only worrying about things like macro. So seeing this super defensive posture from Terran means, if he's defensive, why don't I expand again? Which is exactly what we do. So we're actually making logical moves now with scouts. And from this point on, we'll scout again with the sentry again in a little bit. But from this point on, the game is kind of, like, once you get to about 5 minutes, I'm just going to let you guys in on a secret, okay? 5 minutes is the magic number. 5 minutes in a game where neither player has attacked the other one yet. So nothing has really happened yet in this game. Once you get to 5 minutes, The game is going to be like, that is the game now. That is whatever you have figured out by then. That is, as long as you scout, that is going to be the setup of the game now. So at 5 minutes, what did we see? We saw a third command center and very minimal production from Terran. What does this mean? It means we're going to we're totally able to go to that full-fledged macro game, and we don't give a shit. If I would have not seen a third command center and I would have seen like 5 or 6 production facilities, I could still start my third base, but I would be needing to, you know, we're going to be, you know, maybe preparing to be attacked here pretty soon. There's nothing stopping us from taking our third, but it's still at the same time we could still get attacked. Like because his plan is going to be decided by 5 minutes. And here's again, this is kind of a trade-off, okay? This is something that might make sense. So we ended up going for like we had a lot of gas, and we started going for 3 forges and the Twilight Council pretty soon after this point, because we wanted to get ready to go into Archons. If when I scouted him just now, and I would have saw, instead of a third CC, lots more production, it would have been a more intelligent thing to do, to just maybe be like, you know what, let's delay the upgrades for a little bit. Let's go for a really fast Twilight Council so we can go into really fast Archons, which is then also get a Templar Archives. And maybe instead of making the forges, maybe we make more like an additional like 4 gates right now, because we want to kind of like match his production a little bit. We don't want him to be producing off of like 6 or 7 production facilities, and we're producing off of 3 the whole time, and then he's gonna all in me with no third base. That doesn't make any sense, right? You want to kind of like match production to a point, if you're gonna be defensive about it. But anyways, we have you know, our probes mining. We have a nice, good, healthy probe count, and we scout him again. And this scout scouts his third base that we saw earlier. This was his third command center earlier, and he lifted it off and landed it here. This now is a brand new 4th base. This is a brand new 4th command center. Yo, NC60, thank you very much for the prime. Welcome to the VFam, dude. Much appreciated. Love you. Excuse me. So now, this is a 4th command center. This even more so reinforces our thoughts to go, you know what? We can go to that juicy 80 probe 4 base to 5 base saturation. It's fine. 80, 85 probes. We can totally hit that without a care in the world, because this Terran has now also invested into a 4th command center. This is not a bad thing for Terran to do. It's not that I'm saying it's bad. It's that what I'm saying, though, is it's definitive. It means greedy. It means defensive. It means he wants to macro, not attack you. The more command centers, the more bases you see, the more likely your opponent is not planning to attack early and is planning to prepare for the mid to late game. So, and also, what do we see as well? We see 2 factories just starting. He's now starting to ramp up his production. And if you don't know what this means is, if you see 2 factories like this, guys, and you use health bars, you should immediately think of something like this. You should be like, well, those things are way far off from being done. And if we're going to not only say the building has to complete production, and then he has to build an add-on, and then he has to start building units, at the bare minimum, we have like 2 minutes before a unit even pops out of these buildings. And why is that, you might ask? You're like, how do you know that? Because look at this. Factory's build time is 43 seconds. It's only 6 seconds in. Okay, so we got a lot of time there. That's a big chunk of time to have no unit being produced. Then a tech lab is an additional 18 seconds. So if we take the amount of time that this factory still needs to be built, and also at the same time we then take the tech lab production time, that is almost a minute. Almost, not quite. It's a little bit, it's like more like 55 seconds or so, or something around there. I didn't do the math, but I'm just estimating. It's just a little bit less than a minute, but we can just round it off to about a minute. And then you also have to equate for the fact that making a unit out of this factory, if it's going to be something bigger that's not like Hellions, a Thor takes 43 seconds to build. A tank takes 32 seconds to build. That's another half or a little bit more than half of a minute, again, on top of that. And then not only if these units pop out of these buildings, he then has to spend like 30 to 40 seconds crossing the map to get to my base. So at the bare minimum, we have at least like 2 minutes More like 2.5 minutes to be like, well, we're fine before his production, even if the first production cycle is what he wants to attack us with. We have a lot of time. Is what this makes us feel safe, is what it does. It should. So again, it reinforces your greed. If we're comparing his build to our build, and we go, he's being greedy, so are we, that's fine. It's really just it's a test of who can macro more efficiently then at that point. And if you're confident in your macro, then that's wonderful. But again, there's nothing that stops us from going to 80 probes is my point. So now we're going back to all the methods we've learned, because we have rediscovered multiple times that this guy wants to go mech, and he also at the same time wants to expand a lot. We just fall back to our roots of our habits we've developed for ourselves, which is just making units. And we can stick to the Stalker Immortal Archon composition for now. It's fine. There's nothing that we've seen out of his base that makes me think otherwise. I haven't seen like 10 tanks. I've only seen like 2 or 3. But again, if there were mass tanks, I would make the Zealots. So now we really ramped up our production because we can afford it. And we start rotating Archons in whenever we can, which will spend all of our gas. And then when we spend all our gas like that, our money will ramp up a bit higher. And then we can start making Stalkers and Immortals again. Because Stalkers and Immortals will always deplete your minerals faster than they deplete your gas. Archons will do the opposite. They will deplete your gas faster than they deplete your minerals. So it balances it. You just look at your resources and go, what do I have? Do I have a lot of gas? Archons. Do I not have a lot of gas? Other stuff. And then now we're doing that whole, like, we're preparing for the move out. So now if this guy goes for, like, Banshees, teleports a random battlecruiser in my base, has Hellions run by to try to kill probes, drops Widow Mines in my mineral lines, does anything like this. If he does anything like this, these cannons will just catch problems for us in the future that could just eliminate them, and we don't even have to worry about it.
Engaging the enemy.
And we did not add these cannons on until we had enough, until we were basically maxed. And now the attack's getting ready to come. A great time to, and again, if you're, don't forget, we did scout outer bases, right? We scouted expansions that were most exposed, and we attacked those first because, look at this. If we were to go attack his third base, or his natural, like, I have to run through a depot wall and a choke point. I got SimCity in my way. Some of my units will be hitting factories while other parts of my army is fighting his army. If I go over here, wide open base. If I go over here, wide open base. If I try to go straight to his natural, we have another wall. We have SimCity. We have things that will make my units be stupid and not attack properly. It'll just be a clusterfuck. Cluttery clusterfuck is what it'll be. But we're hitting an open base, so this base dies really easy. Base is dead. His army shows up, and we have, again, our army composition is Stalker Immortal Archon. His army composition is pretty much just Thor Hellbat. It was. It's got a couple tanks, but they're unsieged. There's a lot of Hellbats that run in first and die. But he has 4 tanks, mass Hellbats, and mass Thors. This is legit Bronze to GM Terran right here. Like the initial composition we would normally make. But again, there is mostly Thors in this army and mostly Hellbats. So we don't need to worry about making Zealots, because if we think about this logically, okay, and we don't care the first time we take the fight. The first time we take the fight, we were scouting with our Hallucinated Phoenix here and there, and I never saw mass tanks, so we were fine. We just kept making a standard composition of Stalker, Archon, Immortal for A-move purposes. But if we had made Zealots, and he has mass Blue Flame Hellions, if I run like 30 Zealots into these Hellions, suddenly these Hellions are just like roasting all my Zealots with cleave Blue Flames. And then my Zealots get really, really inefficient trades. And then it makes all my backline units more susceptible to being fucked up by the Thors. And it's just not good. Too much of my supply will die too inefficiently. It'll be bad. But if we have Stalkers, and there's not a lot of tanks, I don't have to worry about my Stalkers getting pounded by siege tanks. And now suddenly the Stalkers trade amazingly against Hellbats, because stalkers are not light units, and as you can see on this damage card, this Hellbat does a fuckload of extra damage to a light unit, does insane amounts of damage to a light unit. So that doesn't apply anymore because we don't have light units as part of our army. On top of that, the even bigger one is that a Hellbat is melee and a Stalker is ranged. So we're going to be killing Hellbats a lot of the time before they even connect to my army. So check this out. Watch these Hellbats. Watch how inefficient they are when they run in. They get like maybe one hit off and just die. One hit off and just die. All the Hellbats are dead, and what do they have to show for it? They killed like one Archon. They bought enough time for like the Thor tank as well behind them to kill like one Archon and soon to be a second Archon. But that was all the Hellbats are dead now. So look at the supply. We were both maxed a second ago, but those Hellbats got a bad trade. So now this is now a little bit of an overwhelming just amount of units for us against his army, which is nice for Protoss. Nice for us. So it's fine. And the trade is not bad. And there we go. Trade went well. And meanwhile, during the fight as well, look at the money. We were making supply during the fight. And I would say that the Terran player had a bit of a struggle here where this honestly, it really comes down to just a macro problem, I would say. Like there's probably just not enough macro going on for like it's too much missed production times for the Terran because there just wasn't enough. Like by the time we maxed as Protoss, which was when was it exactly? Go back a little bit further. We maxed at at 10:20. So we maxed 10 seconds faster than our ideal quota up here. Okay? And the reason why that happened again is because nothing happened in the early game. It was very easy to do it. So we hit our quota pretty fast. It was nice. Nothing really deviated us from that. Nothing distracted us from that. It was great. Now, for the Terran side of things, when we max, he's close to maxing. To be fair. But let's look at his saturation really fast. Gas is good. Gas is good. Good. He's got 4 base, good saturation. 5th base is untouched. 6th base is going to be setting up. But what else? There again. Also, there's also the fact that there might have just been missed SCVs throughout the process too. Building up to this point.
Never stop, ViBE. You're the best. Thanks for the dense, comprehensive B2GM.
Yo.
5SD, 5SD.
Yo, Psyducks, thank you for the 2,000 bits. Much appreciated, man. Much love. Thank you, thank you. You're a beast. My overall point I'm trying to make here is there could be like just a slower build up for the Terran than there was for us, which could cause situations like this where it's like, well, this is why the Terran doesn't have as much as the Protoss. It could totally happen. And yeah, and then the other thing that is really scary is it's going to be very hard. It will be very hard to remax your supply against your opponent if you don't have enough production. And right now I will say there is not enough resources because I think there was too many hiccups in the production phase to get to this point. Because now that we're both at 82, it doesn't mean we're tied. It does not mean we're tied. If we look at difference in production, okay, and we look at the Terran having 7 factories currently and 2 more are about to start. That is 7 production facilities versus is that all of them? Yeah, for now it is. I make more here in a minute. But that's 7 production facilities versus 17 production facilities. This is 17. So there is a little bit of a discrepancy there in terms of production facilities, which that just accounts from the fact that you know, there might have been a little bit of hiccups here at the macro part. That's why that's where the discrepancies of money can come from, things like that. Because I do remember there was earlier in this game, the third for Terran was not saturated at all, and ours was fully saturated. That is something that is a factor. And then yeah, when the fight happens, all you do is you take a moment. This is all I want you to do. This is the last thing we'll say, and then we'll move on. When you take the fight, I want you guys to literally look at the fight just for a second. Find out what's going on. Look at his army and go, okay. We're fighting Thor Hellbat. Now that you know what you're fighting, try your best to come up with an idea that makes sense. If you panic and you don't know what to do and you're like, just make whatever you already made. It's fine. I would rather have you make anything than do nothing. But try to start thinking about things logically. And if I see a Terran player who's going mass Immortals and Hellbats, I would say a great thing to do at this point from now on would be going back to my base, chrono boosting all 3 of my Robos, making Immortals nonstop, and then filling it in with Archons and Stalkers again. That would be totally fine. Because that would be amazing against this composition. And that's it. Just try to well, and again, guys, this is not the only time we're going to talk about this. I can already see people asking me questions. What if he does this? What if he does that? We're going to go over a lot. So my suggestion to you is keep watching the series. You're going to see tons of examples. We'll talk about logical choices. Plenty. Breaking all of them down right now does not make sense. It's too much. Because no one will remember anyways. But again, for those of you that are like, ViBE, what? Okay, tell me why. Why, if he goes Hellbat Thor, why does it make sense to go Stalker, Immortal Archon? And this is why. Stalker Immortal Archon is very A move. First of all, it's very A move. Requires like no micro. And the second reason is Archons gain bonus damage to biological, and Hellbats are biological. So Archons fucking destroy Hellbats. And they are also Archons splash. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, Immortals do bonus damage to armored units, which is Thor's. And Archons destroy, or sorry, and Immortals destroy Thor's. Really fucking hard. Really bad. So we know that rock, paper, scissors wise, Archons counter Hellbats, Immortals counter Thors.
You have not enough minerals. You have not enough minerals.
Okay, anyways. And again, we'll learn things like this over time. We're going to be committing things like this to memory. Learning all about all the different kinds of units that StarCraft offers. Your Protoss BDGM build counters your Terran BDGM build. In Platinum League, it's not true. Because I literally beat a Protoss yesterday as well. It doesn't come... Like, I'm not even going to get into that right now. That is the biggest tangent of information that I don't want to give right now. Because we literally gave it in the Terran video. But that comment is invalid. That's a fallacy. Okay, so Zerg expanded. Right? He expanded. Let's go ahead and get our Nexus like we did. Let's go ahead and get our core. And make a pylon. Standard build. Make our gas. ViBE, in Diamond League, do we get to know more about scouting? Yes, of course. I'm gonna let you guys know a secret right now. It's not really a secret. I've said it a lot already. Bronze, silver, gold. It's literally about learning how to wipe your ass in StarCraft. Learning how to macro. It's very basic shit. It's why I don't teach anyone anything if you don't even know how to do that. It doesn't make any fucking sense to teach someone scouting if they don't even know how to macro properly. It's a waste of time. It is a fucking waste of time to be like, okay, so let's talk about pro level strategies, and the guy's like, I don't even know how to make probes. Well, fuck, we got a problem. Okay, so yeah, Step 1 is just learning how to fucking play the game. Because it'd be like telling someone, all right, so it'd be like imagine trying to explain chess to somebody, okay? And you're like, okay, so this is a good strategy. What we want to do is we want to like lure out his queen, and we want to snipe that shit in some way. And like, let's just say you have a strategy. It's elaborate. You're telling someone about it, and the guy picks up a fucking rook, and he goes, "What does this one do?" It moves in a straight line. Can a pawn? How many spaces can a pawn go? Like, teach the fucking basics before you get fucking technical. You know what I'm saying? It's pointless to go technical if someone doesn't even know the basics. Doesn't make any sense. Literally makes no sense to teach someone advanced shit when they can't even handle basic stuff. Anyways, we're getting tangent. Chat, I need to stop reading chat. People on YouTube and people who are just listening to this, I apologize. I'm gonna focus on this again. Reading chat it's like a rabbit hole. It consumes your ass. It doesn't even talk about anything that's relating to the game. So what we're doing again, we'll get back on track here. We are gonna be scouting him with our sentry in just a second, just to see base count. We're still making probes, guys. We're still chrono boosting even. Things are great. Let's make a couple pylons over here. And we can go ahead and hallucinate a phoenix out. We can get ready to set up our third. Let's go ahead and scout over the guy's natural, over his main. Let's just start our third because we have the money to do it. If we have to cancel it, we can cancel it. It's not the biggest deal. Okay. Lots of queens. That's a lot of queen, guys. Now here's what I would say you should think about if you see a lot of queens. You should think one of two things. Number 1 is a nidus. Number 2 is macro. How do you differentiate if it's a nidus or if it's macro? And I will say the way you differentiate that is through base count of Zerg. So here's a mistake we made. We kind of probably should have scouted his third base first because Zerg expands really fast. And if we would have seen a third base, we could have guaranteed it's not a nidus. It's very low chance of being a nidus. So the next time we scout, we're going to go for the third anyways, but yeah. Basically, that's how you decipher. You can't have a third base as Zerg really fast and have it saturated and also have queens and then be like, I'm also nidusing at the same time. Because again, there's a limitation to your build, right? You can't do everything. You gotta pick and choose. Okay, so once again, our gas is getting a little high. Let's go ahead and build this building so we can fix that. Get our probes saturated properly to a different base. We're good. Let's get another pylon here so we can make another pseudo wall. Because again, remember we learned about walling against Protoss, or against Zerg with Protoss, where it still applies. Okay, let's go ahead and make another scout. And this time, let's scout in front of his base. We'll scout like forward base, forward base, forward base, all these bases over here. Let's just see how greedy this guy's actually being. Greedy. Super greedy. Okay, he's got the Zerg's on 4 bases already. And he's got a third. So all these queens, the fact that we also haven't seen a nidus, and the fact that he has all these queens, reinforces the fact that he is macroing. Let's go ahead and get our upgrade buildings. And our Archon building. Let's also go ahead and build a gateway here. Just to kind of limit the surface area that the Zerg can push me from. And let's go ahead and kill one of our gateways now, because we want to take a new base over here and expand again, because we want more efficient probes, right? And we know the Zerg is being macro now, so let's take a forward base. Probe count's basically done right now, guys. Okay, get upgrades, chrono boost them. Good stuff. And now our money's kind of high. We can go ahead and start throwing down some more production. Fix my probe count. Of base wise, like my saturation count, I mean. Okay, let's grab a bunch of probes here and send them off. One more. Go to my new base up here. You can take gases too. A couple more pylons, and we can make a few more gates. While now we can also make some archons. Keep making immortals, observers. Take some more gates. Because we can afford it. We cannot spend our money fast enough right now. Two more gates and we'll stop for now. Okay, now we're at 17 gates and 2 robos. That's how much we currently have. Fix my saturation again. Grabbed all these new probes that got mined out. Send them over here. We can mine the gas and we can even take another base. Now let's go back into making archons again. And with, again, same thing as always. Let's go ahead and start getting some static D here. Okay, he's attacking, so let's go ahead and deal with this. Okay, he wants to attack this base. Just warp and shit. And what do we see? We see Roach Hydra, guys. Roach Hydra. So, what we can do against Roach Hydra is that's not, Stalkers are not as good against Roach Hydra as Zealots are. Just gonna throw that out there so that there's no mystery here. Stalkers are better against, like, if this guy was going Mutas and Zerglings. Something like that. If he's gonna go Hydra excuse me. If he's gonna go Hydra Roach, we're gonna actually invest more gas now into Archon Immortal, because Archon Immortal are better against Hydra Roach. And then we're gonna then use the excess just minerals now on Zealots. So it's gonna less Stalkers means more Zealots and more Archons. Zealot Archon is better against that composition. It just is. And why do you ask? Stalkers are more mobile, so they're better against more mobile things like Mutas. Archon Immortal is less mobile, but it's fucking powerful as hell, so it's better against things like less mobile, more power armies like Roach Hydra. Okay, he's attacking me here again. Make Archons. Keep making shit. It's fine. It's not the biggest of deals. So root my army up. And move his ass now. Don't worry about it anymore. We know what he's doing. We know what he's going for. Let's just call it a day. And keep making Zealots and Archons. Okay, upgrades. Gas count, or base count, mineral wise. Let's get chrono boosted upgrades really fast. Now let's look at our minerals. Fix them. This one needs 1 probe here and there. 3 probes to get mineral line, 1 probe gas. What's going on over here? Let's go ahead and back my army up for a second and just regroup ourselves. Hold on for a sec. Just be patient. What's our probe count at? 82. That's good. Let's go ahead and do this again. Chrono booster upgrades. And just fill in all our bases of static D really fast in case, once again, we get attacked by some bullshit while we're out on the map. Fix my probe saturations. Composition-wise, we're going to win this game. Just throwing it out there. Our composition is better than our opponents at the moment, at the current moment in time. We just need to prepare for potential problems, which we just did. So now let's max out. Make some Archons. And move his army. Okay, he's going Broodlords now, so let's go and throw down some Stargates. And for now, while we don't have since he is switching to Broodlords now, since we don't have Stargates yet, let's actually go back into Stalkers again, because now he's switching out of Archon, or he's fucking Roach Hydra. So let's switch into something that's more efficient against this now again, which is now what are good against Broodlords. Stargate units are amazing, but we can make Stalkers for now. Okay, we're gonna lose that base. Send our probes to another base. Take another base. Okay, let's start making void rays. Chrono boost them out. Archons, void rays, anything that we can fucking squeeze out right now. Keep chrono boosting my voids. Send my probes somewhere else. They're probably all gonna die. It's whatever. Start making probes again. Keep making voids. And we can also start getting upgrades for the voids too.
Base is under attack.
Keep making voids. Keep chrono boosting them.
Channel the light of ice. Systems. You have not enough minerals. Base is under attack.
Keep making probes. Keep making voids. We can make actually our Archon building died, so we gotta remake that. Every tech building died. Oh shit. So we're getting reset pretty hard right now.
Your probes are under attack.
Just keep fixing the probe counts whenever we can. We're at 45. It's not great. And now the Zerg is making an intelligent choice by going back into Hydras again. So we are actually going to die now. So if we were to look at this game, and go, okay, where did the problem happen? It happened because we committed for too long into an army that wasn't as ideal as it could have been. Which was the Zerg went Broodlords. This is like a really common trend of most Zergs. Every Zerg is like, I love Broodlords, Broodlords. And again, I'm not trying to micro anything here, so if we're gonna fix this in some way, it's scouting. Scouting is the way to fix this then. So we can think about ways to improve our scouting. Like, look at this. Our sentry has scouted all of it, like this current base count he's on, when this base was started. And from then on, what happened to our sentry? Our sentry just kind of chilled. It didn't scout again, so once again, that's something we should probably think about. And imagine if I had seen the Spire a long time ago. It would have changed things a little bit. I could have been more prepared a little bit faster than what happened. Another thing we can do is we can start doing things like we can start sending like an observer into his base as well. But realistically, it just came down to a fact that Zerg went Broods. Broods, in terms of A-move, Broods are like one of the most godly A-moving units you can ever make. And it happens. Yeah, the reason why Broodlords are so good at A-moving is because not only do they hit pretty hard, they create broodlings, which makes your units auto-attack broodlings, and it wastes a lot of your auto-attacks. So it reduces a lot of DPS your own army does. So we'll scout more, essentially. We'll increase that scouting even more. We got another Zerg opponent. Okay. Never mind. Good scouting. Thanks. Thanks, dude. Thanks, man. Another Zerg. Revenge. Oh, we'll scout him with this probe. My bad. Let's just make the gate and we'll go. Alright, boys. Alright, boys. So we're scouting across. We're going to see if the Zerg expanded or not. He did, so we can expand as well. We don't have to worry about anything really. And we see a gas starting right now and also a pool. So this guy, again, reinforces that the build he's doing is very standard. Nothing to worry about. So if we're not going to get attacked really fast, we can totally prioritize our Nexus before the core.
You have not enough minerals. You have not enough minerals.
Yo, thank you for the sub, Feathers, for the 8 months. What's up? Welcome back, bro. Welcome back. Thank you, thank you.
Construct additional pylons.
Okay, so we're getting a stalker. We're getting our warp gate. We are currently boosting probes still. Trying not to supply block. Getting ready to make a sentry. Kind of boosting the probes. Again.
I am here in the shadows
Bases are looking good so far.
for the reckoning.
And now my money's ramping up again, so let's throw down some more production. We can throw a robo up here, it's fine. And our gateway here. Just, you want to get a wall. I would prefer not to wall with your tech, personally. If any of the building were to get sniped by some pressure, you definitely don't want that building that is getting sniped to be your tech building, because it's more expensive. Harder to replace. Okay, so our money's getting really good right now. It's getting up there really well. I can't really spend it anymore. We're going to go ahead and throw our third down. At the same time, we're going to scout the Zerg once again. And just keep producing. Scout his third potential and then go up further. So we can, like, you know, we talked about that last time. We can see if the Zerg is going to go for a 2-base build or not. So there's no third. So now if we see a lot of gas, get ready for some type of a weird build. Not a lot of drones. He's got static D. He's got a fast layer, more static D. He's got an upgraded... That Evo chamber is upgrading because it's shaking around and jittering. Let's go ahead and send an observer now to his base. And he's got Overlord, kind of that reveals that he invested into Overlord speed as another safe thing he did.
Construct
It's not a bad thing. It's just it reinforces that he spent 100 gas to make his overlords fly fast. So it's less all-in-y when it's like that. It's more macro focused. And now let's go ahead and take our observer and plant it like right here in the middle of his ramp. We can oversight mode this and we can see what he's making. And look, we see roaches coming out of his base right now. Roaches are walking across the map right now. And if we put this observer in oversight mode, it makes it to where even if I do select all army, it will not move it. So keep making markers. Get ready to potentially get attacked by a Zerg who is going to hit me with roaches. And look, he's making drones now. So it's fine. We'll make one battery. One battery. We don't need to go crazy on batteries because it doesn't look like he's flooding me. But it does look like he does want to do a roach attack. So let's go ahead and make some more gates. I'm prioritizing gates first before forges this time. And look, here we go. I'm prioritizing gates this time before forges because he's going for more 2 base aggression, less 3 base aggression. We're going to pop a guardian shield. Because what a guardian shield does is it makes range units hit you for 2 damage less every shot. And he's got nothing but range units. Alright, cool. We defended ourselves. We defended ourselves. We have a good saturated base. Let's go ahead and take another base. Perfect time to take another base is when you're macroing. If you're not there yet, is when you defend an army. Like you kill an army. He lost like 8 roaches there and ran away, so we're good. Saturate my gases. And now produce my units. And make an immortal. And now let's go ahead, now with this new money we're gonna have, that's gonna start building up again. Let's go ahead and get our upgrades going with 3 forges. And look at my sentry. We can scout him again. Even though we have this observer here, it's nice. We can see he's going into Zerglings now. Does that mean maybe Mutalisk? Zergling pairs with Mutas really well. Let's try and scout his base. But for now, keep making Stalkers and Archons and stuff like that. So there's his third. It's very, very, very late. Fly around his base. See what we can see. Okay, we didn't see much. He's going Mutas. So, here's what we can do now. Get our upgrades. Chrono them all. Let's go ahead and get Blink on my Stalkers. And we're going to just keep making Stalkers for now. And now that we also know he's going Mutas, again, we're A-moving his army and we're going to start making... How many cannons was it, guys? You remember last time? If you don't, I'll tell you again. It's 3. Oh my god, this mineral line is so annoying. Just make the fucking cannon, dude. Oh my god. 3 cannons and a battery at every base. It's a big investment, but also it just completely screws Mutas over. 3 cannons and a battery. And Chrono Boost upgrades. Upgrades are another way you destroy Mutas. Grab my probes, send them over to a potential new base we're going to take. Take a new Nexus. And look at my resources, right? You're like, ViBE, ooh, Jesus. You're not really making units now because you're making so many cannons and batteries and stuff. That's why we can make Archons. Archons are glorious. They're a great way to cheaply make an army still. ViBE teaching Platinum players to go Blink Stalkers. Blink is very basic micro. It's very basic. I'm not going to tell you to blink 1 Stalker at a time and micro against the shit. I'm just going to tell you to blink under him with everything. And I'm also going to start telling you to do this against Broodlords too. Fucking stupid Broodlords, man. So many Zergs are doing it. We need to give you guys an answer to that. Now, let's prepare for the late game, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to get very close to maxing out. We're almost there. And once we do, we know this guy... Oh, no, just kidding. He's attacking. Let's deal with it. My upgrade's currently boosted again. My army's already fighting him. It's fine. I don't care. Okay, so here's what I was gonna say. Okay, this is what I was gonna say. From now on, we'll go back and look at this game. This is the new. We're changing our build up a little bit. This is the new Protoss hotness. Okay, this is the new hotness. From now on, I'm going to start telling you guys by default to start getting these two upgrades, charge and blink. I'm not gonna make you rush them. We don't need to rush these upgrades, but we will get them around the time when we make cannons and batteries. I will tell you guys to make charge and blink as well. Okay? And this is why. It gives us an option to actually have some type of basic micro against certain things like, for instance, Broodlords. And it also gives us the option to transition into Zealots and have Zealots ready to go, if we think it sounds like a good call. Now, on top of that, we are going to also, at this stage, once we max out, instead of making like 3 robos and like 16 gates, it's now going to turn into something that's more like maybe 2 robos, 10 gates, and like 3 stargates. Or like maybe more gateways than that. We do like 14 gateways, 2 stargates, and 2 robos, or 3 stargates and 2 robos. And here's why we're doing that. It gives us, again, we don't even have to use the stargates when we do this, but it's going to give us the option in case our opponent is doing something like going for a Spire, or we could do something like go Tempest. I wouldn't recommend Phoenix yet. I think we'll hold off on Phoenix for now, but because again, battery, cannon, and blink stalker will shit all over mutas if they do that. But if they go like Broodlords, Tempest will be amazing. It'll be like a great way to deal with it quickly. And stuff like that. So we're gonna update our build a little bit for more against Zerg specifically, especially for more like potential shit that could happen. Now going back, okay. In this game, once again, look at our vision. We see okay, Zerg expanded, cool. We see Zerg as a main base with some drones on it, cool. We see a gas just starting. We see a pool just starting. If we look at that, and again, we compare it to our build, look at our gas. Our gas is already done, and it's already being mined out of. Look at our gateway. Our gateway is already done. His pool is just starting. Just so you guys know, the reason why this makes sense is because he went hatchery first. So, again, this doesn't mean that he's never going to be aggressive, but it does mean that for the opener of the game, there is no reason why we shouldn't build a Nexus now. If we're going to plan on expanding. We're not going to be getting attacked anytime soon. So that's like the first 2 minutes of the game again. We're just doing the build. We're doing the build. We're expanding. We're making probes, chrono boosting them. That's also why we're dedicating our chrono boost to probes as well. If we were getting one base all in, I would have dedicated chrono boost to the gateway. Because then it's kind of a problem then, right? But, yeah, build's pretty standard so far. We're starting a 3rd base because we have good money and we have good saturation. When we compare worker counts right now, look at our worker count to his worker count. And then now we have our Phoenix hallucinated scout coming in. And what do we see? No 3rd. This is the most standard 3rd, by the way. We see static D. And here's a big one too. Just take a moment to briefly look at his mineral line as we cross it. And if you were just to go like this, okay? If you were to take your camera like this, do you feel like you could just tell how many drones are there? Just by eyeballing it. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. But again, if you eyeball this mineral line, do you feel like you can kind of tell how many drones are there just when you cross over it like that? If you watch your Phoenix cross it and then you move on. Exactly. It's not many. It's 6 is right. Yes, but it's not many not many drones. And look, then again, compare it to our mineral line. Compare it to ours. Yo, Bad Manner, thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs, man. Much appreciated. Welcome everybody. Hello. How you doing? Thank you very much, dude. Fuck yeah. Look at our mineral line. 21. There's a big difference here. There's a big discrepancy in the amount of workers on each one of our mineral lines. He does not have nearly as much. So that should spike an interest in your brain to be like, okay, where's your drones? What are you doing? And I would say if this static D did not exist, there's possibly more of a chance that we're going to get all in. And if there was no static D here, I would be like, okay, well, get ready to cancel the third if it gets attacked. But we might want to make like 2 batteries right now because it makes sense. Or like 3 batteries even. Because there's very likely an attack looming somewhere soon. Because why is there no drones? And why is there nothing? Why is there no third? But we see static D. Progressing further in, we see a Zerg player who now we look at the main mineral line. This main mineral line does not look fully saturated either, to be honest. And there's again even more static D. But now at least we also see his plan as well. We see a layer being morphed right now, and we see a roach warren and an evo chamber. This could still be for any type of like a roach attack, but what I see now is the way I would kind of like dictate this is this dude probably started mining gas a little bit too hard when he shouldn't have really done that. He prioritized a layer really early when he probably shouldn't have done that, and then he also made static D, which was all these things together put him in a position where it looks like his build is inefficient. And yeah, for someone asked, why would he make a layer? Because you need a layer to get roach speed. So this build just looks a little bit less efficient than what it could be. If he, if he just took a third, didn't make static D, and made more drones, and then got a roach warren, his build would be kind of the same outcome of getting to roaches, but it would be just way more efficient. So now that makes me feel really safe seeing that. That's a lot of info right there that puts like this safety net on us, where we're not too worried about like, oh god, is he all-inning us? Like, definitely not. Why would he get a layer if he's gonna all-in this like this? Like, for instance, okay, again, some people like they don't think about things in a very clear way. Where if I say, why is he gonna get a layer if he's gonna all-in, and someone's gonna be like, Nidus, you need a layer to Nidus. But why is he gonna rush a Nidus and then make static D? If his plan is to keep you defensive while he kills you, what's the point of getting static D? It doesn't make any sense. Like, basically, the static D kind of rules out the fact as well that he's going for an all-in because this is a defensive posture. So, seeing this, all this combined, low worker count, fast tech, static D, it just makes me feel like this guy just wants to tech quickly to roaches, but his build is just overall inefficient. And then we have an observer chilling here in oversight mode, and we see roaches moving out. So cool. Like, we're still making army. I didn't throw down more production yet. I haven't seen anything that's made me feel like that. All I did was I went, okay, maybe since he's making roaches, instead of being like freaking out and being like more production, maybe we make a battery, just a battery at my exposed base. Yo, thank you for the sub. Kid, go away. Thank you. He shows up to attack my base. We go over and attack him as well. And problem solved. And now we go back to expanding and droning and keeping our build flowing. But now our money's starting to ramp up a little bit, so we throw down more gates. And now we can spend that little bit of extra money we're starting to gain on top of what we had before. So instead of making two units out of gateways every cycle, we're making 6, which is this. We talked about these things all throughout the leagues before. It's just efficiency, and we can go ahead and scout them again. We still see Zerglings being made, and as we said, if you see someone make if you see someone making a lot of Zerglings in the mid game, guys, there's only 2 things that make sense for that. Number 1 is they have a baneling nest somewhere in their base, and they also want to make banelings with those Zerglings. That is one thing that makes sense if you're going to go Zerglings. The other thing that makes sense if you're going to go Zerglings is you want to now save your gas for more expensive units. Generally speaking, the only time you're ever going to see a Zerg go Zergling Roach as a combination of an army is if they're doing it off of a hatchery and not a layer. If you have a Zerg who has the access to tech units beyond hatchery, they have access to hydras, they have access to mutas, swarmhost, infestors, hive. They have access to tech units. If they make Zerglings, it means that their gas is not getting spent on roaches anymore, and they can now make other things. So if we're looking at a game like this, where this Zerg is, he went for a roach timing, and now he just suddenly is starting to go Zergling out of nowhere, I as a Protoss player, I'm like, you know what? This really seems like this could be going into mutas now. Or anybody, really. It's not even just Protoss. Anybody. If I'm like, okay, well, why are you now just suddenly doing a Zergling transition out of nowhere? It really, really seems like mutas. Doesn't have to mean it's mutas, but it seems like it. And we're going to figure that out, right? Trying to get into his base. We see even more static D. But we didn't get to figure it out because my shit died to a spore crawler and a couple queens over here. So, but we do also see the gas, though. We see the gas. He finally has the gas as natural, but his economy, once again, hasn't been the best this game. He's not fully saturated on his bases. We can eyeball this and tell, and the reason why we can tell this is because some patches have 2, some patches have 1. Like, look at this patch, it only has 1. Look at this patch. Does that, I think this, yeah, this patch only has 1 because these 2 drones are going back to these 2 patches. So things like that, you know, you're like, okay, is it Minerline is not as efficient as it could be? And then he confirms that he's going mutas by showing me mutas, which is fine. And now that he's going mutas, we do this thing. Three cannons and a battery per base. 3 cannons and a battery per base. And then we can make Archons with the disparity of resources. And the reason why this is so good is because his mutas will take forever to crack my bases now. They won't just fly in and kill probes and fly away. They'll fly in and lose mutas, and it'll buy time for my stalkers to blink on them. Or for me to recall if I have to recall as well. That's the power of these forges giving us upgrades and also these cannons. If we're going to go for a blink style. Which is... We're keeping the game still relatively basic as an opener, so this is... makes sense. And that's it. Did you smell the mutas? I smelled them, dude. Zergling mid-game transitions are awkward. It means they're getting ready to transition to something that costs more gas. It's weird. Yeah. Is number 3 hotkey your main nexus? No. Number 5 is my nexus. If I have a nexus on number 3 still, it means I wouldn't worry about it, but I usually bind nexus to 2, 3, 4, 5 at the start of the game every time. Okay, we're fighting a Terran player. I'm going to teach you guys some building placements against Terran. On this map specifically, building right here is perfect. Against Terran only. And ViBE, why is that, you may ask? Because Reapers can't jump up here now. So we literally just now limited Reapers from only coming in from one direction, which is right there. And if we limit the Reapers from coming in from one direction, it means that Stalkers now can suddenly kill the Reaper without losing any probes. Makes it way more realistic to deal with, way easier. Okay, we're gonna scout his ass, boys. Scout his ass. What you doing? Is this plat 3? This is plat 3, yeah. One barracks. One gas. It's an expansion build. Let's go ahead and expand first. And I'll zap his SCV for a second. Why not? Fuck it. Just kidding. Don't do that. It's going to distract you. It's going to guarantee distract you. Don't do that. There you go. There's the expansion. Okay, so we're looking at his base for a second longer. And then we can get out of here. We made a Reaper. That's fine. We made the wall in the high ground, so Reaper is now not going to be really a factor. Make a Stalker first. And keep making probes. Make a sentry. Look at the Reaper. I had to come to the front door. We're moving it. Grab 4 probes. Send him over. Stalker can sit in the front door because we don't have to worry about him going in the back door now because he can't come this way. If you see Reaper come this way, it'll get stuck. It won't go up here. Keep chrono boosting them probes, the boys. Make another Stalker. Let's go ahead and up our production a bit.
You have not enough minerals. I am here.
Get ready to make a hallucinated Phoenix. And let's take a third base. Send a probe to my third. Keep making production. Warp gate's done, so just start warping stuff in. That's off. I fucked that up. I fucked that Nexus up. Let's just make a Nexus here. Let's fail. Okay, I just died to a bunch of Marines. That's fine. It just tells us that he's going bio. That's all it means. Like even if we didn't see shit, you do see something. The fact that he has a bunch of Marines means he has barracks, a lot of barracks. So that's information in itself right there. So what we can do now, if we're going to go up against a bunch of Marines, we'll make some Stalkers to start this game off, but it wouldn't be the worst idea now to make a unit that's better against bio, which is a Zealot, and now we'll go into Charge Lot Archon Immortal instead of Stalker Archon Immortal. But we'll still make the initial set of Stalkers just in case this guy goes for you know, something like really early, like a Banshee or some shit, or whatever, or a medevac drop. Okay, let's go ahead and get our building here. And against Terran, we're going to get 1 Forge combined with Twilight Council first. And that's it. Just for now. Just for now. We will upgrade to 3 Forges again in a minute. But we're going to do 1 for now. And now let's start making Zealots. Make another Phoenix hallucination. Let's go scout for his 4th.
On the wings of justice, I return to serve.
Take a gas. Let's go take another base. Can also have 1 probe mine this mineral wall out just to get it out of the way. And let's start a Templar Archives for Archon. And we can start Charge and we can start Armor. Probe count's not done yet. Let's keep chronoing the probes. Keep making Zealots. Okay, more Marines. He keeps killing my Phoenix. It's fine, but he is showing us Marines every time. Okay, rally to my new base, because these bases are fully saturated. They're all good. And now money is starting to once again ramp up. I can't spend it anymore. We're keeping our shit capped out. Let's go ahead and get a few more gates. Let's get like 4 more gates. Okay, he just wouldn't mind my mineral line. That's fine. We'll go select my army and get over there and deal with that shit. Keep making probes. This is why we chrono probes. Go back to the front of my base with my army. Okay, and now re-rally my nexuses to the to the new base. We're almost done on probes.
Mineral field depleted.
And now we can start making also Archons. And get ready to make a cannon battery in my base mineral lines. Okay, we are 84 probes. We are good. And now let's go ahead. Now that we're fully saturated on probes, let's go ahead and add on a couple more forges, so we can get ready to take my upgrades to the next level. Let's go ahead and get Blink, even though we might not use it all game. It's okay. Okay, he's attacking us, so let's attack him. And what do we see? What's a problem here right now? We see Liberators. Let's go and make some Stalkers because they can hit air. Attack my army up there. Keep making army.
Upgrade complete.
We were making Zealots for a long time and he had Liberators, so that sucked, right? That's something that is not good for us. And now that he's got Liberators, let's even make one more set of Stalkers. I don't know how many more he's going to make, but we'll just have a decent amount of Stalkers to deal with Liberators if he makes them again. Now we can go upgrades again. Chrono, chrono, chrono. Transfer my probes in non-optimal places. Now let's go for the cannon stuff. We'll just do 2 cannons and a battery again this time. Per base. 2 cannons and a battery. 2 cannons and a battery. Now let's make Templar, Archon. Also, this base too needs a cannon battery. That's fine right there. Check my bases, good. Chrono. Check my base, good. Check my base, good. Make Archons. And money's getting high again. I can't spend it. Let's upgrade my production. Let's add on like another 6 gates. Okay, and now we're at that gateway count. That's going to be really nice. It's going to be 12 gates. From now on, let's start also at this point in time, start adding on like 3 Stargates. Anywhere you can find room for it in your base. It doesn't matter. Okay. Make some Zealots. And Chrono Boost upgrades. And now that we're starting to make Stargates too, grab all these buildings we just made. Make sure you have them in some way, shape, or form in a control group, or you can be able to use them. With Warp Gates, fine with Warp Gates. Do my upgrades again. Well, let's start also getting ship weapons, okay? Because we, again, it's not a guarantee we're going to use these, but we might. Keep making shit. Let's even get one more Robo too. Like 2 Robo, 3 Stargate, 12 gates for now. Okay, we are maxed. 2 Zealots, 1 go on the right, 1 go on the left. Okay, he's got an army right there. Send our observer forward. What is this? Okay, let's just fucking go for it. A-move that shit. Make units while this is happening. Chrono boost my shit. Okay, now since he just lost an army, we don't have to really give a fuck anymore. Let's just A-move where we think he will be, where we think his base will be. Because if he just lost a fight, just go attack him. You don't gotta be like, I gotta wait. Just go attack. And now I'm getting a lot of money again, so let's add in, and I'm maxed. Pretty much, I'm starting to lose a little bit of army, but we can add in just a little bit more production. I can actually like 4 gates and a fleet beacon. Things are going pretty well. Check my bases. Good. Not good. Fix that. Not good. 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 Then we can take another base because our base is getting close to mining out. Cool. Now let's go back and look at this. Okay, so we made the Reaper wall in here. This makes the Reaper not ever be able to go up here. This is nice. Good stuff. Because there's only 2 places the Reaper can jump in your base on this map. One is right here. Another one. And then also, this is a wall, by the way. These minerals literally make a wall from here to here, so you can't just go up and down between this. You have to mine these out to be able to go through that. So a Reaper could jump up here, which means it has to go all the way around this way, and then up the ramp, and then come over, or it has to go all the way back down and around this way and go back. So knocking this out is a great way where we just limit him to only coming in one place in my base now, which is either the ramp straight up, or he can jump up right here. But if we have a stalker standing right here, both of these locations are covered from this entrance. So then suddenly all our problems are solved. All our problems are solved, boys. Yo, Zorka, thank you for the 2-month or the two gifted subs. Welcome, guys. Hello, welcome, welcome. Thank you very much, Zorka, and also 99%. Thank you back. Thank you and welcome back for the 7 months. Bros, get it on. Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah. And Kid Go Away, thank you again for the Prime. Boys, thank you for the subs. You guys are amazing. You guys are the best. So now we're scouting him. Again, we're going to you're going to start identifying builds here, guys. Once again, what is this? Barracks, depot, 1 gas. What do you think it is? It's most likely a natural. Because where is his money going otherwise? And then he makes a Reaper, so we know there's probably going to be a Reaper that's going to scout us. That's fine. And then we get to this point now where everything up to this point, again, has been decided. Everything has been found out. I'm not worried about like, oh my god, there could be a bunker proxy all in. Nothing. And also, at this point in time, I should not feel like I'm behind. I shouldn't feel like I'm ahead. But I also should not feel like I'm behind. I should feel like the game is standard. Nothing has really deviated the game to be ahead or behind yet. The only thing that's happened so far is both of us have revealed to each other, I'm going for a quick natural. Yeah, me too. That's it. So the game is standard. You just do open up your standard way. We're doing 1 gate natural into 2 gates now and with a robo. And then we take our third at a fast pace. We ended up building that in the wrong spot, so we canceled it. That was a fail. But we took one over here instead. I don't give a shit where you take your third either. Just do it somewhere close to your base. Now, look at this. This is why I always tell you guys, try your best to keep a mental note in your head when you go like this. Okay, Sentry, let's make a Phoenix. Hallucinate a Phoenix. Send it across the map. You like shift moved around his base. Try your best to keep a mental note. Okay? Mental note on the fact that you sent this shit out. And you have like 10 seconds now, or like 12 seconds before it gets to the base. Phoenixes are pretty fast. And they also bypass all forms of terrain. They don't have to deviate, like go in lines and shit. They go in a literally straight line to where you're going. So again, keep a mental note of that. Watch on the minimap a little bit. Like keep your eyes on the minimap a little bit as your Phoenix goes out. For 2 reasons. Number 1 is if this Phoenix flies past a blob of red and dies over here, well, you should click it really fast then and go, what was that? Oh shit, he's doing like an SCV all in with Marines and shit, or whatever, something random. Or if it doesn't die and you get close to his base, you want to get the best possible scout you can. Now, we reacted to this a little bit late because we fucked up with our probe and we took our third base. We ended up it didn't go as well as we would have liked, but at the very least, we still looked at our Phoenix when it died. So notice, my Phoenix should be getting used right now, because if I did, I could have actually sent it down a little bit and went around the Marines like this. Like, oh, I'll go this way then, and I'll go around the side. Marines are not as fast as a Phoenix. I could easily have gone down to the right and then up, and I could have avoided dying here. And I could have scouted into his main base. But I let it die. But even though I let it die, I still look at it. And what do I see? Right as it died, what do I see? I see Marines. At the very least, in like worst case scenario, you fuck the Phoenix up, but you should still quickly be like, mental note, okay, the Phoenix just died. I need to quickly look at that and what killed it. Like, what's there? Because if I didn't look at it ever at all, it's just pointless. What I just did was pointless. But now at least I know, even though I didn't get to scout his main, guys, I haven't seen his main yet, by the way. We just played this game. I have not looked at his main yet. We've been looking at my vision. This already kind of tells me there is one type of thing going on. Okay? The fact that there's 5 Marines. This is what this means. There is either... there is anywhere between the range of like 1 to 3 barracks. It is most likely going to be 2 barracks. But what this tells me is it's most likely going to be a situation where it is 1 barracks with a reactor, 1 barracks with a tech lab, and then that is probably it. There could be a 3rd barracks with another add-on being made on it or some shit like that. But most likely we are going to be looking at 2 barracks with add-ons. One of them will be a reactor, one of them will be a tech lab. If he's going to make this many Marines, he's probably going to commit to Marines. And if he's going to make this many Marines as well and he's going to have add-ons for it, he's going to also be upgrading them. So let's look at his base. I'm expecting to see 2 barracks and 2 add-ons. Okay, so he didn't do it, right? So there's a chance he might not do it. What this means now is he actually made a Reaper, and then he probably either made a Marine or a reactor, but then he made 2 Marines, lifted off the barracks. He made 1 round of 1 Marine and then 2 rounds of 2 Marines. And here's why I got the math that in my head that I did. If he's got 5 Marines, you should know that a barracks that is not a reactor can only make 1 Marine at a time. You should also know that a barracks that has a reactor can make 2 Marines at a time. And the final thing you should know is that a reactor has a much longer build time than a tech lab. So what I would kind of expect to have happened here would have been the Terran was going to go for 1 Reaper, which is what we know about already, and then immediately make a reactor. And then he was also going to be making a 2nd barracks when he does this. And then he was going to go for a tech lab on the 2nd barracks, and he was going to get 4 Marines out, and at the same time he made 1 Marine on the 2nd barracks. That's what I was expecting to see. But again, my Phoenix died, so we fucked our scout up, so we didn't get to know everything. So what does this do? This puts us in a situation where later on I go, oh shit. Liberators. What's a good thing against Liberators? Stalkers. That's why that happened. There's cause and effect. We didn't scout properly in the beginning, so we had a cause of missed scouting. We assumed something, which was, but it's still logical to think this way. Where we're looking at the range of what his build could be, it seems like it's going to be a bio build, and it still was a bio build. But we just didn't realize how fast he was going to a starport to make Liberators. Anyways, things like that make sense. Like it's how you should actually be thinking about the game. Little bits of information give you lots of info, whether you realize it or not. Just how much depth you put on it. Anyways, the bigger story here though is Terran player is still making us. He's committed to the natural. He's still. The army was not massive. I would have loved to have scouted his main more, but whatever. Like we're still okay to macro as is so far. There's nothing too crazy that's going to kill me. Again, because he invested in the natural.
I am here in the shadows.
And we're just ramping up all of our production as we go. And another thing too is this too. This is really important. Because we know there's a very likely chance he's going bio. He still could go mech if he wanted to. But there's a very likely chance he's going to go bio because of the excess of Marines we saw. We are getting a nice... We're going to start going into like charge lot and armor, which is amazing against bio. Just throwing it out there. It's so fucking good against bio. Charge lots with armor are god against bio. They're ridiculously good. But we're not done scouting either, though. This is not going to guaranteed be our plan the entire game, right? It's not like we make this right now and go, you know what? This is where I think I lose a lot of people as well when I talk about things like this. Think about it like this, okay? There hasn't been that much time since our last Phoenix scout went into his base and died. But we did see multiple Marines. So it looks like bio. So we're making a bio counter. We are going to confirm another scout again, because the game, we haven't really gotten a full idea yet. We're kind of assuming shit still. So we're definitely not just going to be like, yeah, this is now my plan all game. We are going to follow up again soon and figure out what the hell's going on. And here it goes. So we're still making units. We still have these safety stalkers. We still are now, we are going into zealots because we're assuming he's going to go for a bio push so far. We're not committed all game to it. We're making immortals. And again, we're taking our bases as we are. Our build is still being efficient. And now look at what we're doing with our shit. Phoenix goes and checks for a third. Up there, no third. Phoenix goes around and swings to the bottom. No third. This is now going, you know what it's time for? Time for production. Unless we see a third command center in his base that's like done already. This makes me think the fact that he still doesn't have a third at his third. There better be one lifting off any second now. Or he's going to have like 5 production buildings. He's going to have more than just like, you know, a couple. Like look at what we have. We have 3. Okay? If he has like 5 and we have 3, he's definitely going to outproduce us. That's just a fact. So we go into his base and we die again. And what do we see this time? We see a shitload of Marines. So we're blind again. The Phoenix could have been microed once again a little bit better. But we reconfirmed his build though. This is a lot of Marines now. This is all that we saw multiple things getting ready to go with it. But the main thing is we see a lot of Marines. So what does that mean? That means that this choice right here of going charge lot and armor is amazing. It's a fucking great choice. But what we should do is make more gates. We should do some type of form of more gates. We should definitely start ramping our production up a little bit. Like once we, again, the big thing is spend your money. We still are focused on spending our money, but we need to ramp up the gateway count though, which is exactly what we're doing. And he Widowmine dropped us. Killed some probes. How many probes actually died? 6 probes died to that? Or 6 probes have died in general. But our mineral count is still amazing. And then here he comes. He's doing an attack. We haven't yet followed up another scout yet. We totally could have. We could have scouted him again with that sentry's energy. So that's, again, something we definitely need to keep working on more. We need to keep tabs on the sentry to try and scout as much as we can with it. But he shows up with an attack. He scans ahead first. This is good by him. Scanning ahead and then doing an attack allows you to get better positioning this way. You don't overcommit. But we have still, even though we didn't scout, again, this exact time. If you remember what I said, up to 5 minutes really tells you a lot of your opponent's plan, at least for a while, like the whole build-up of the game. By 5 minutes, their plan is going to be kind of set in stone for a while. They can still transition later on. But up to 5 minutes, whatever they're doing, that's what they're doing. If they're going to go for a 2-base all-in, they're going for a 2-base all-in. If they're going to go for 3-base, like macro builds, if they're going to go for a bio opener, they're going to commit to a bio timing. Like, you're going to deal with whatever they've built up to 5 minutes. No one is going to play up to 5 minutes and not make a choice still. Because look at our supply at 5 minutes. We're over 100, we're at 7 minutes now. But you get my point. Like, you're going to have a lot of shit by 5 minutes. You don't just suddenly be like, you know what? I feel like the first 5 minutes didn't count of this game. I want to do something different now. I want to do something completely the opposite of what I'm doing right now. So, again, 5 minutes is like a magic number of being able to tell what your opponent is most likely, not guaranteed, but most likely going for. And again, Liberators seem like they're going to be a problem here, so we make more Stalkers, just to be on the safe side. And we deal with the Liberators, they're gone. And now, Young Trotsky, thank you for the Prime. Welcome to the VFam, dude. Welcome. And now, guys, think about it like this. about a minute ago, before about like around like 7 minutes, I would say, or something right around there. We scouted his base with a Phoenix, but not just his base right here. About a full minute ago, we scouted, or maybe like even like a minute and a half ago, we scouted, do you have a third? The answer was no. Do you have a third? Again, the answer was no. When we scouted this, our third was already fully saturated, and we were starting a fourth base. Okay? And now this guy just committed to an attack, and he lost the battle. What this tells us now is that this Terran is so ridiculously far behind at this point in the game that this is now our game to lose. This should be like this massive confidence booster, because once again, we're comparing like our build as the curve, our base count to his base count. Is it even or not? And we saw it was clearly not. Like we saw we had more. So even though he could have a base now, even though he could have a base right now, which he does, this base is a lot fresher than my base. For instance, let's just click on one of his mineral patches. Like 1700, 1700, 800. This is, just to let you guys know, this is mined 20 minerals. This is mined 25 minerals. This is mined 25 minerals. Like this base literally just, if I hit B to go back in the replay, it's probably just going to land recently. Or it's going to get saturated. Like, look at that. It's like 30 seconds ago, it has no SCVs on it. And he transfers SCVs to it. And now it's mining. Our base has mined like 300 minerals per patch or 400 minerals per patch. We've had this base a lot longer. So we know we're in a great spot. And again, like I said, when he didn't have a third, our third was already fully saturated, and we were starting a fourth. Even though he just started saturating his third, our fourth has mined. Our fourth not only is fully saturated, but our fourth has mined about as much as he's mined out of his base over here. Like it just started, but that's a whole base up on him. So that's again, massive lead. Feels great. Makes us feel like we're in control of the game.
Upgrade complete.
So it's, again, it's confidence. That's the main thing I'm trying to instill in you guys, is the feeling of knowing where the game is. And we should know with everything that just happened. Ahead in economy, defend an attack without taking damage results in massive lead. Like we are definitely in a very winnable position right now. And now we're just covering our asses, preparing ourselves for any possible other things that could happen before this fight happens, we'll just say. So we're going into Stargates, just in case we need them. We made more gateways, just so we can remax faster. We added another robo on, just so we can remax faster. We keep upgrading. We also start getting weapons for Stargate in case we need to transition. But we're getting we're getting all this stuff. We made shield battery and cannons at all my bases. Again, this covers us from, if like, one of the only ways this guy could get back in the game now is if he did like a Banshee over here, a Banshee over here, a Widowmine drop right here. Let's say he went fucking Rambo crazy ass and he kills like 50 probes, and then he also at the same time has a main army killing my base over here, and he actually kills his base. And he kills like 50 probes and he kills the base because I'm just moving my army all over the place, and I'm like, I don't know where to go. Shit. And then he runs back, and now he plays defensive at a positive position. Doing shit like this makes that really, really less likely to happen, because we can deal with harassment with these kinds of little defenses. And then as long as we keep maintaining production, which we really are, because this is mineral heavy, doing cannon battery at every base is very mineral heavy, and it pairs up perfectly with a round of Archons out of my gateways, because those are very mineral light. And then suddenly, you know, like we could just, we now are prepared for the end game really well. We have all this like protection on our bases, and we can now safely attack across the map and not have to worry about shit. And then he ends up making the idea, the attack before we're ready for it, like before we're attacking him. He decides to pull the trigger and go on us. So we just make do with it. And it's the same thing as it always is, which is, we go, okay, there he is, let's fight him. And then while we're fighting him, let's just make units. Don't watch the fight the whole time and just stare at it. Keep remaxing the whole time, because every second counts at this point. And every time we start a unit off a gateway, it starts the cooldown to make another unit. So we don't want to miss like 10 seconds because we're staring at the fight. And his units are 2-2, by the way. Our units are not even that well upgraded. Our units are 2-1-1 versus his units being 2-2. But it doesn't even matter because Charge Slot Archon Immortal is pretty fucking good against Bio. And look at this. This is the last thing we're going to show you. Okay? This is why I still say, I still don't think you should macro. Or sorry, this is why I still don't think you should micro in Platinum League. And I know this guy's going Bio, so he has no choice. But check this out.
Shoddy, every stream is like a fucking TED Talk. Never change.
Yeah, man. Yo, help bacon. Thank you, dude. I appreciate you with those bits. Thank you, man. So he's going Bio. He has no choice. He has to micro. But check this shit out. Look at the production tab. Keep a note of the fact of what it already is. So these things are already being produced before the fight starts. But now let's watch it while the fight happens. He just now macroed. And it's when the fight is over and everything's dead. And how much production does he have? He has a lot of fucking production, guys. We can do this again. This is another way to look at it. What I want you to... This will be even more of an indicator, okay? What I want you to do this time is I want you to look at the bottom middle here and look at all the white dots. If the thing has an R on it, it means it can have 2 white dots. If it has a T on it, it means it can only have 1 active white dot for how much it can produce at once. That means Tech Lab or Reactor. The fight is starting right now, and look at all of this fucking idle production. He has over 1,000 resources. He can afford to make stuff. This is... And then now some stuff gets made, but the game is kind of over at this point. And then more stuff gets made. But again, the supply for Protoss during that fight literally like never dropped. The supply for Terran during that fight dropped a lot. So it puts him in a position now where it's like unrecoverable. And that's pretty much it. So, yeah, it's just the simple fact of, you know, having to macro while microing, respecting that habit, creating that habit and respecting it. If you have the money and you have idle production, you need to fix that. That needs to not happen. You need to maximize production at all times. That is the one habit I've definitely been trying to instill in you guys the most out of anything. It is by far the most important thing. Like actually making production at proper times and then also utilizing said production. If you don't do those two things, that's going to create like 1,000 problems for you. Alright, well, probably one more game. Unless I lose again. Probably one more. Probably. But again, Platinum League, again, guys, the big thing about Platinum League is really trying to just understand your position in the game. That is like the basis for scouting. If there's anything that I've said that you're like, this is kind of confusing, ViBE, I'm not sure. Trying to learn what things costs, the costs of units and also the build times of units, that is nice to know. It kind of gives you a little bit of a gauge to go off of. And then just comparing your build to their build. Like, how far along are they? How far along are you? That means you're ahead or behind. This is perfect. This is a PvP. I think mirror matches are probably the easiest way to understand this. Because you don't have to compare other races. Most people understand mirror match. Okay, so we're going to do proper placement against Protoss. Pylon goes on the edge of the ring being on the edge of the ramp. And what we're going to do is we're going to build a gateway. We're going to build another gateway above it. And we're going to leave enough room for a pylon to fit on the left of it that I could wall off with if I have to. That is the plan. So gateway there. First. Go back to mining. Make a gas and stuff like that.
You have not enough minerals. You have not enough minerals.
And let's go ahead and make another gateway. Actually, fuck, I should have scouted, whatever. We'll just do this, build this game. This is a very standard Protoss opener. For higher level. I kind of forgot to scout, my bad. My bad, boy, my bad. Sorry, boys. Okay, let's go ahead and build our core. Yo, Karmov. Or Karmu. Thank you very much, man, for the sub. Thank you for the Subway sandwich. So you notice the two gates are touching, and I can fit one pylon in it to block the ramp if I want to. That's how you should build that. He did the same build, so it worked out. He should have a second gas. He does. So he did the exact same build as me. It's a very standard Protoss build. This is a high-level Protoss build. It's just standard. We're gonna fall back to our base now. We're gonna go back home. And we're gonna expand. Wait, do I not have a fucking pylon? Oh my god, I don't have a second pylon. I thought I built one, I swear. See, stuff like if stuff like this happens to you, boys, it's, you know, it's not the end of the world, but it's not fucking good. It's not good at all. I just now, my build's behind by now probably 20 seconds. I thought I had a pylon. Shit. It's okay. But now, let's see, this might be something that will set us behind. So when we scout him, we might see, when we compare the curve, we might be like, well, shit, he's ahead of us. And look, adepts, okay? Check this out. This is how you do it. Make a pylon.
Our pylon is under attack.
Rally my gates back here, and we're good.
Your probes are under attack. I am here in the shadows.
Have my stalker go to the front of my base and deal with this shit. Cancel the pylon. Stalker, go out and deal with these adepts. Build a pylon. Now, suddenly, adepts don't do anything. Keep making probes. And now that one of the adepts is dead, let's just go mine minerals again. Because it doesn't matter anymore. We don't give a fuck anymore.
I am here in the shadows.
Let's make a Phoenix and a Robo. Why not a battery? Because you're canceling it. Batteries and pylons cost the exact same. It wouldn't matter what you make. It literally doesn't matter what you make. You don't let it finish. And look, he's expanding and he's making more gates. So we know that this dude is playing, and he's also got a Stargate. Okay, so now, grab my probes, run them away for a second. Just right-click this mineral patch. Now right-click back to my main mineral patches. Now my army's caught up. We'll start making stalkers split between my bases. So these guys can stay up here, these guys can stay down here. Keep chrono boosting my probes. And make one battery per mineral line now. Just a battery. This way it's going to guard us from oracles fucking us up really bad. Now let's warp in one more stalker in the main. Warp in one more stalker in the natural. And suddenly now the Oracle can't really get a whole lot done. Let's go ahead and scout him again with our sentry.
Not enough energy.
And now let's just start making an army in my natural. Like all of it. And look, we just saw a move out. If you guys noticed in the minimap, you remember what I said? Every time your opponent, or every time you make a hallucination, fucking look at the minimap. That's the perfect time to look at the minimap. We can see his army's not here, and we also saw him moving past my hallucination on the minimap. So, send my army down here to help. Just A-move this shit with my main army. And look at the shield battery. It does amazing work against the Oracle. It's so good. It buys so much time. It bought me a lot of time overall, but yeah, still annoying. Let's go ahead and expand again. And we can make a couple more gateways with like one forge. And the reason why we're doing this is because we have more money than we can spend. With our current production, that is. Let's go ahead and get ready to start making Archons. And now here's the same thing again. In a Protoss versus Protoss situation, okay? It's kind of nice to open up with Stalkers at first. But I'm going to say it again, just like it does against Terran and just like it did against Zerg. Charge Lot, Archon Immortal is actually fucking baller. It's very good. So let's go ahead and make a Phoenix. Let's scout his third. All bases around his main base. Just to see if he has any expansions that are outwards. Get weapon upgrades. And let's start getting zealots. And let's also start getting Archons. So no base there. No base there. No base there. Does he have his other final third? It's finishing very soon. So he is going for a macro game, and he's going Phoenix, Stalker, Zealot, Archon. That's fine. I don't give a shit. Let's go ahead and guard my probes again. Get him out of there. We can make a battery here again. And no probe died there. Transfer a couple probes over. Let's even start a fourth base. And let's keep making an army. Charge Lot, Archon Immortal. Every time we can make Charge Lot, Archon Immortal, make it. And then as our money gets extremely high, take a base. Okay, saturate my gases here. 3 probes. 3 probes. And how's my upgrades looking? They're almost done. Cool. Let's add some more gateways on again. 4 more gates. Okay, he's here again. But shield battery, once again, doesn't let any probes die. The only way this guy's going to kill probes at this point, if I only have shield batteries, is if he has enough energy on the Oracle to deplete the battery and then kill probes. Which, if he wants to know a number for that, he needs probably like 50 energy on the Oracle to do that. And he keeps attacking me with like 30. Okay, let's go ahead and make a cannon now in every base because we're getting closer. We're getting closer to that point to where we will max soon-ish because everything's ramping up now. Our probe production's almost done. Our gateway count's increasing a lot. The supply that we're going to start having is going to start ramping really quick. Trying to boost my upgrade. Send a couple probes over to my new base. Grab some probes, send them over. Okay, the Oracle just died. Can make another robo. And we're almost there, guys. Keep chrono boosting my forge whenever I get time to do that. Get blink on my stalkers just in case, for whatever reason, I decide I want to use it. And let's also go ahead and get 2 Stargates. Just a couple Stargates. Just in case, again, I want to use it. It's a just in case kind of a, it's like a good measure. Now spend the money that I have. Let's make Zealots because we have minerals. Lots of them. We don't have much gas, but we do have minerals. Yo, thank you for the sub, Sujin. Thank you, dude. Much appreciated. Yeah. Okay, let's send out 2 Zealots. One on one side of the map, one on the other. Right click all the mineral lines. See if this guy's taking extra bases.
Mineral field depleted.
Okay, he's attacking the top. He moved my whole army up there. Just get it going. Go save this base. Go deal with this garbage. Okay, he's got an army of charge lots, archons, and stalkers. Similar to what we have, but not exactly. Keep making units during the fight. What's my probe gun at? 66. He killed a lot. We need to make more. Transfer probes around that are not efficient. Make a new nexus. And look at my money. Gas heavy. Next round is all Templar.
You have not enough minerals.
Kassam de Templar. Kassam de Templar.
I return to serve.
Okay, probe count now is about done. Take another upgrade on my forge. And once again, we got interrupted there for a second. So let's go ahead and make 2 Zealots when we can. And let's go scout the map again because he fucked it up. He didn't let me do it. Scout, 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 scout. Take another Zealot. Scout, 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 scout. Now every base is gonna get scouted once again.
Kassam de Templar.
Grab probes that are over. Fix that shit, boys. And now we can start throwing. We have lots of chronos, so let's really start getting more aggressive on our chronos.
My charge.
Okay, we see no bases on the left side that are new. It's just his natural. And the right side, we're about to discover if he has another one. And look at the cannons, guys. We both sent a Zealot into each other's middle at the same time. I killed like 3 probes. This cannon battery is just owning this shit. Just fixing the problem for me right up. I don't have to do anything. Okay, we are maxed out. And we found his newest base. So let's select my whole army. Let's go fuck that shit up. We're gonna get our army right here. We're gonna group it all like right around here. And let's make increase my production a little bit because my money's getting high. Let's make 1 more Stargate. Let's make like another 8 gateways. Or so. That's fine. We made like 9 or something. Doesn't matter. Okay. 1 Zealot run down. 1 Zealot run down. We just want to see exactly where he is. There's a pylon there. There's a base here. It is open. Go right now. Whole army, go fuck this base up right now. It's wide open. Go back to my base. Grab all these gates I just made. Grab the Stargate I just made. Grab everything. Start making shit if it dies. The fight is gonna, whatever's gonna happen in this fight is gonna happen. We're worried about composition, guys. And we can see, oh look, he's making disruptors. Okay. Charge lots are pretty good still. The only thing that's different now is disruptors are in his army. That's a very micro-intensive unit. It's a unit that will distract the shit out of him. So if I just macro, I will probably destroy disruptors because of just sheer numbers that I power through it. Let's go ahead and start getting just a couple of Tempest. Just because. Why not? Let's start adding them to our army. Because if he's going for AoE ground units, if we get something big in the air that can force fights to happen in a weird way, that'd be great. Why not abuse that? Let's go ahead and chrono boost all of our Stargates and all of our upgrades and all of our Stargates and all of our robos. So Stargates, robos, Forge, and Core got chronoed.
Vespene Geyser exhausted.
Click, 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 click. Okay, we got some probes idle. Fix them. Probes oversaturated. Fix them.
I return to serve. Vespene Geyser exhausted.
I keep fucking that gas up somehow. Jesus. Okay, he's over here. Let's go save this base. Make some zealots at it. Our army is A-moving this base right now. What's my worker count? 81? Let's get a couple more. Okay. You don't really want to go crazy on the disruptors, by the way. Or sorry, not disruptor. I didn't mean to say disruptor. Follow my army back. All right, guys, come back. You don't want to go too crazy on the Tempest, is what I meant to say. Too many Tempest is actually fucking scary. That's too much supply. We're making literally like 4 or 5 Tempest and stopping. I don't give a shit how many Zealots you have, or how many Archons you have, or how many Immortals you have. All of those are good. But don't go crazy Tempest. If you do add in Tempest to your army, in this situation, against a Protoss player, seriously set on like 5. Okay, he's attacking over here. Guys, look what we can do. Warp in some Zealots. Hey, move towards my main, because that's where these Zealots are going. Chrono boost upgrades. Fix my resources wherever I can, and then we'll A-move his base again. His newest base. We'll go to the same place we just killed the last one. Okay, let's go. Group up my army outside of my base so it's not so single file lined. Upgrade my dudes, my upgrades. And now let's go. Go straight down. We're going to send one zealot ahead first. Go there. One zealot, go here. Same thing we did last time. Does he have anything in the open that I can fuck up? He's got a new base here. Perfect. And get ready, boys. The mineral field's depleting. Let's fix that. Good probe saturation. Make a couple cannons here. Make a battery. Space is really exposed, so we can make a few. Now, attack him with everything. He's still got the same composition, so let's make the same shit as again. It's fine. Start making some Archons. Make some Immortals. Make some Zealots. How's my army doing? That's doing great. Okay, let's just select the army. Reinforce it. Pile it on. A-move right here. Just A-move it at this point. And then we could, the next time we can make more Zealots, we could do it again. Be like, Zealot, 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 Zealot. And if you want to...
Can you give my girl Hannah a shout out? She started playing a few weeks ago, watched your bronze to GM and is now about to promote to platinum thanks to your amazing work. Keep it up, my dude.
Damn,
Love from Germany, less than 3.
Hannah's kicking ass. Hannah, you fucking slow down, okay? You're improving too fast. Okay, people are supposed to improve a little bit slower than you are. You need to relax. Are you a genius? Yo, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the bits as well, Rises. And I hope you guys are having a good day. Thank you for the support. It is very much appreciated, and shout out to you both. Shout out to you both, okay? Hannah's going bananas. No, that is really impressive though. Nicely done. Okay. So guys, let's talk about this game really fast, okay? Comparing builds again, okay? Comparing builds. It's easiest, like I said before, it's easiest to understand this in a mirror match because then it's really like something that's understandable for you because it's your buildings too. But every race does have a lot of similarities to what things cost. So we scout him. It is a kind of a late scout, but it's whatever. We ended up just doing a 2-gate opener just to be on the safe side because we didn't know what's going on. He did the same thing. So right now, automatically, I see 3 buildings here. We can click on them and physically see what they are. It's a cyber core, gateway, gateway. We should know it's going to be cyber core, gateway, gateway, but you can click on it just to confirm it. This is not going to be 3 gates with no cyber core because you have a tech path, number 1, and number 2, if you make 3 gateways defensively like this and you don't have a gas or something like that, and you're just making zealots, it sounds pretty awful. It sounds terrible. You would never win doing that. Now, so we know what build he's doing. We have a good idea. We see double gas, just to confirm it, okay? Just to confirm everything. Double gas. We have double gas. It's identical. We don't make a second pylon for a long time, which is really bad. But it happens. You know, shit happens, right? It's fine. Now look at the supply. I did say I should be behind because of that supply block. And look at the supply. I am behind. It is very obvious. But it's not the end of the world. We can still make do with what's happening. Just try to keep the game going as is. We don't know what units he's making right now. We just know he has the ability to have extra harassment if he wants to. This guy has the ability to go for Stalker, Adept, whatever, harass. It's usually going to be either one of the two, Stalkers or Adepts. No one's really going to harass you with Zealots really early. And no one's really going to harass you with Sentries really early. If someone makes Sentries or Zealots, it's usually because it's all in. And it would be like 4 gates or 5 gates instead of just 2 gates. But again, if it was that, it wouldn't be here this fast either. Anyways, that's advanced. We'll just talk about this simply. If you remember, I said we like to leave one gap big enough for a pylon in our ramp. And what does that do? It allows us to build a pylon if he tries to shade into my base. So we can see him coming. Like, we don't see the shades when they're like right here. We can see him coming from further away. And also when the Stalker is done. The Stalker should have already been done, but I got supply blocked forever. If I would have seen him coming with a Stalker like right here, if a Stalker was standing right there. Because if we both do the same build, okay? Think about it like this. If we both do the same exact build, and neither one of us gets supply blocked, I should very easily be able to have a Stalker standing defensively right there, which is that far from a gateway, compared to my opponent making 2 Adepts and walking all the way across the entire map. Or however the fuck he goes, over here, over there. Like, walking across the whole map, my Stalker can easily get here in time. The build time of a Stalker and an Adept is not that much different. Actually, what is it exactly? The build time of a Stalker is 30 seconds. The build time of an Adept, it's exactly the same thing. 30 seconds, 30 seconds. So yeah, the only reason why I didn't see the Adepts coming until the last second is because I was supply blocked for so long. But even then, we still just build a pylon. Grab a probe, build a pylon. We grab one of our probes that is actively mining our natural right now.
Our pylon is under attack.
And now, we let our Stalker go through the door. We cancel it before it finishes. We let our Stalker go through, and we immediately get ready to build a new pylon. Because what is he going to do? This is now a little bit of basic micro knowledge. If my Stalker goes and attacks his Adept, what is he going to do? He's going to shade past my Stalker, and he's going to lure my Stalker as far away from my middle line as he can, and then he's going to teleport into it. Because that's what Adepts do. They teleport with their shade. So if I let my Stalker go through the door, and then remake a door, that eliminates that entire process. So Stalker goes through, he tries to shade, I pylon it again, and now his Adepts are stuck fighting my Stalker again. And now once there's only one Adept, we don't care nearly as much, and the reason why is because one Adept can 2-shot a probe, and if he starts killing my probes, realistically he would probably only kill like 1 or 2 probes right now, and the Adept would die. But when you have 2 Adepts, you can kill 1 probe simultaneously, like with the 2 Adepts attacking it. So that's way scarier because 2 Adepts can like walk away from my units repeatedly and kill a probe, kill a probe, kill a probe, kill a probe. 2 Adepts is way scarier than 1 Adept. And now we're fine. And now, even though we got supply blocked, even though we got supply blocked for like 20 fucking seconds, look at who's ahead now. And you want to see why? This is why I tell you, and I don't want you doing micro builds in Platinum. Look at this. Let's look at when the supply block happened. Right now. So, or even before this. Okay, right now. I'm now supply blocked. This is my last probe that is going to get made from this supply block. Look at his base. His pylon's almost done. He's doing a proper build. Look at the production of his Nexus. Ready? Watch this. He's building units. He's building another probe. His supply right now is already ahead of mine by 4. Now 5. Like, we're getting fucked right now, right? This is not good. But now look at this. The adepts are being microed now. He's starting to use adepts here. There's one probe. I was down a bit from that block, and now here's another probe. But now here's the thing. I do think this will be the last probe because he just now engaged my stalkers. Or he's just now engaging my base. So I imagine this probe is probably going to be it. Watch the Nexus. Watch the probe count. I'm still negative right now, overall. Because he did not block and I did. I'm now equal with him in probes. I'm now ahead of him in probes. I'm now further ahead than him in probes. He's still microing the adept, by the way. The adept just died. They almost killed this probe. It just died. And now, watch this probe start being built again. This probe will be built in the next... Within the next... Like, literally at 3:51, the probe will get started. Okay, it should start like... I would imagine it's going to start like right now. Because now he's not microing anymore. Unless he's setting up paths for his oracle. And there you go. There's probes being started again. But you guys get my point, though? Like, this dude's doing a build where he's going 2-gate, Stargate. This is like a pro-level PvP opener. I guarantee this dude watched, like, fucking DreamHack or something, or WCS, BlizzCon, and he's like, shit, okay, Stats did this build, or fucking some Protoss. Like, oh, God, this build is good. And he's trying to replicate that, and it's too much. It's just too much. It's too much micro, and you neglect all macro while you do it. So even though I've lost 2 probes so far in this game, once again, we're ahead by 5. And I not only did I lose 2 probes, I got supply blocked for like 20 seconds. And I was down by like fucking 5 supply at 20. I was at like 22. He was at 27 or something like that. Or I was at 23. He was at 28. That's not good. That's so bad. That's a large margin of difference right there. It's like a big waste of my time. Like, it's bad by me to have let that happen. But we still recovered anyways and are now ahead because we just macro. Anyways, moving on. We'll go back to the scouting. So we fly over his base and we see Stalker, 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 2 extra gates, and a Nexus that is natural. We see the Nexus that is natural is very late. Now here's what this means in PvP. Look at my natural. We're comparing, right? This is a comparison. Our natural, guys, our natural is done, and it has 11 probes at it. His natural is not done. Again, we're talking about a curve here. First things first, we knew we both opened up with 2 gates and a core. We both knew we opened up this way. Okay? So we opened up the same exact style. Secondly, he's throwing more production down now, which reinforces the fact that there's like no proxy anywhere really. Like, more production being in his main, it really reduces the proxy. Also, the fact that he's expanding reduces the fact that there's a proxy. But here's the big one, okay? Here's the big one. This is the one that I want you guys to understand a lot. You have to know cost of unit. Stalker is 125 mineral, 50 gas. Adept is 100 mineral, 25 gas. Sentry is 50 mineral, 100 gas. If you remember any number that I just said, at the very least, please remember the gas. A sentry, this is another way to look at it. 1 sentry is worth 4 adepts. 1 stalker is worth 2 adepts. So in my sentry and my stalker, that is worth 6 adepts right there. And just in gas alone. Okay? That's just in gas. 6 fucking adepts worth of gas right there. So number one, if he made a late natural and he opened up with 2 adepts, what the fuck is going on with it? Like, what did he spend his money on? And my guess would be there is some type of tech, even though we have not seen it yet, there is some type of tech in his base. The most common one, again, is going to be a Stargate, like we already obviously know. But if someone opens up with a late natural and just adepts, they teched hard. They teched to something. So that's really what we're looking for now with the scout. We want to know for sure what it is, if we can. And he ends up hitting our mineral line anyways, so we deal with it that way. But even if even if his oracle wasn't there, like right now at this point in time, doing something like maybe making a battery in your mineral line is not going to be the worst idea, because we're already so far ahead in our natural. Almost full saturation of mineral line compared to no probes at all and not even a done nexus yet. That is a big difference in time. That's like 2 minutes of a difference in nexus. Yo, Anonymous Cheer, thank you for the bits. And Stim Junkie Jet, thank you also for the bits. Oh my god. Thank you. And now we see an oracle in our mineral line. We pull our probes. We send our units up. Send our probes back. It's fine. If you guys want to know how I did that as well, it was like this. Oracle comes in. We don't react to it until it starts smacking our probes. But Oracle comes in. Right now. Flies in. Come on. Come on. It's right there. Come on. Oracle comes in. It starts smacking my probes. What are we looking at right now? We're looking at our scout in his base. Now here's the perfect way to do this. Your probes are under attack. We heard it. We see it on the minimap. We see big red flashes on the minimap. We know some shit's going down. We immediately click in the area with our army. We then go army, select all army, fucking attack the area. We don't have to be looking at our army to do this. We can just hit a button or click the fucking button here. Either way, I would recommend having a hotkey for it. But we just make all army go attack towards where the oracle is. We then, next step, is we double click the probes or green box the probes or whatever. We just grab the probes and we go mine our natural. Don't deselect the probes. The oracle will chase the probes. So army goes up. Probes go down. We do not deselect the probes, and as soon as our army makes contact with the oracle, we move our camera back up and right click a mineral line. It takes all of like 2 seconds to do this, or 3 seconds to do this whole process. And then now we're done. And we go back to macroing as we were before. And now that we know for sure there is now a Stargate development in this game, now we just make a battery in each mineral line, because a battery will help a lot at dealing with an oracle. And we also split our stalkers up, because the oracle could go back to my natural now, it could go to my main. And here's the thing too. Again, this is a big one. Whenever you are whenever you do this right here. Right here. Watch it. Whenever you make this, I don't want you to do this right here, where you just like literally fucking follow it the whole time. I don't want you to do that. But what I do want you to do is I want you, while you're scouting with your hallucinated phoenix, I want you to still macro your build as it is, but nothing's happening right now. Your eyes should be doing this. Like, what am I building right now? Let's see. I'm building probes. I should be like this. 5 SS. Build probes. My eyes, after I look here for a second, should immediately snap over to here. Look at the Phoenix Scout. I don't have to look at the Phoenix. I don't have to physically look at it to look at it. I can just look at the minimap. Building probes. Okay, I can check my gates. Look over here. Okay, cool. I'm doing this. Okay, I can make a guess. Look over here. And do you see that? Did you guys just see that? You want your eyes to constantly be looking at your Phoenix as much as possible while it's on the minimap. You don't have to do it all game. You only do it while you're scouting. Sometimes you will actually look at it, and sometimes you will look at the minimap. Looking at the minimap right now is really important, because look what happens if we look at the minimap. Right about now. We are going to run past an army. We didn't even see what it was, but we did see red, okay? And here's how we deduce what it is. We saw red on the minimap running right by. We also see red on the minimap up here, sitting there. And also earlier when we scouted his natural and we saw the Stargate for the first time, we saw 3 stalkers sitting there. So here's what I think is going to happen. If we're going to logically break this down, we're going to say, okay, he's moving across the map right now. He is going to most likely attack the front of my base. Meanwhile, he's going to sneak an Oracle in the back of my base and try and kill probes. That's what seems like is going to happen. So I'm going to let you guys know right now, the perfect way to defend this, if we wanted to be as boss mode as we could, would be having my whole army go down to my natural, except for literally 1 stalker, and then dealing with my natural, and also having the 1 stalker deal with the Oracle. And that's it. Obviously, we're not doing that yet, because we're not microing anything. That'll come in Diamond League. We'll start microing in Diamond. Right now, we're literally, the micro is so fucking basic. We're select all armying everything still. So we just select all army and we go down to my natural, and it still works out just fine because the shield battery counters the Oracle for a long time. But we can tell his plan is to multi-prong me. And here's another thing too. Just before the fight happens, if we look one more time at our hallucinated Phoenix, look at this. This is another way to gauge what's going to happen. Look at this mineral line. If you guys had to guess, how many probes did you say that is? It doesn't have to be exact, by the way. If I looked at that mineral line, I would say, okay, there's probably around like 14 probes there. 15 probes there. I would just guess like 14 or 15. That mineral line looks like it's pretty much fully saturated. And let's look at him. What is it actually? It's fucking 14. Cool. Like, again, it does not have to be exact, but it does look pretty saturated. It looks like it's just about done. This mineral line looks like it's good to go. Look at our mineral line. 21. Okay, so this is something that you can tell where if you just can quickly look at this and go probably like 14, 15, 16, whatever. You just put a nice estimated guess on that. And then that is a mental note you have in your brain. And you go back to your base and you're like 21. What's the difference? But if you guessed 14 and you have 21, that tells you if you lose no probes, you're in a great spot. If you lose 7 probes, you're even. If you lose more than 7 probes, you're going to probably be behind now. And again, you don't have to do these exact numbers. You're just kind of rounding off shit. What this means is you have a cushion of being ahead now. That's all it should mean. You should feel confident that you're like, all I have to do is defend this, and I'm in a great spot. Because I know I'm ahead otherwise. It's just knowing if you're ahead or behind. And we know we're ahead by looking at this mineral line. And again, we should be expecting to be ahead. Because the last time we fucking looked at this, it was 11 probes to a nexus that wasn't even done yet. Okay? So, like, previous leads don't just suddenly vanish. We keep tabs on these things throughout the game. They make a lot of sense. There's something you should think about when you honestly want to know if you're in a good or a bad spot. So then we get attacked right after this. He shows up. He tries to do a timing. We actually had the shield battery's paying for itself hard right here. It heals my immortal while it tries to get killed. It was great. We shove him back. Even though we don't kill really any of his army, we just kind of soften him up. We kill, like only a couple units die, and now this is happening simultaneously. This shield battery's battling an oracle basically for keeping probes alive. And look how good the shield battery does at just keeping probes alive forever. It's amazing. We could run this mineral line away. We honestly should. If you're watching this and you're like able to handle it, you should run the mineral line away just like last time because now the shield battery is depleted. So now probes are going to start dying at a much faster pace. We ended up not running our probes away just to make a point, which is fine, which was it's not that big of a deal. But look at this, okay? Watch. So far, we've already lost 1 probe to this exact oracle right now. It's because my mineral line was fully saturated a second ago, so it's killed 1. Now 2. Now 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It killed 8 probes. And do you remember what I said? I said if we look at his mineral line and we kind of guesstimate it, and we look at our mineral line and we guesstimate it, We're like, yeah, we got a nice lead. If I take some damage, it doesn't mean we're behind. Because of the lead I already knew I had, it means the game kind of balances out. And look at what just happened. This Oracle just wiped out 8 fucking probes, and it balanced out our economy, and it balanced out our supply. I had a lead before. I had a nice cushion before, and I just lost that cushion due to a simple mistake of, you know, not running the probes. And it happens all the time to people. But, like, we should look at that and go, okay, well, the game's kind of even again. Like, I had a bit of a nice probe lead, and now you just kind of solidified that we're kind of close again because you just killed a bit of the probe lead I had. Which is okay. It's not the end of the world. It's fine. And now we go and take a third base as well because we have some money to spare. And once again, the game resets itself. The game literally, the best way to say this is the game honestly just reset. It just reset. So now, what are we doing? We're looking for the new way to tell if we're ahead or behind. So what are we looking for? We're looking for third base. The third base and then go into tech after is going to be a great way to tell if we're ahead or behind. So we're making units, we're making army, whatever. Making probes. And now look at this. We see a third base. This nexus is almost done. Our nexus is done. This is comparing again, right? Look at our saturation. We have 8 on the nexus. Like, they're already being transferred over here. We have 8 though. Look at his nexus. We see a nexus. It's still not done, and we see 3. It doesn't mean there's no transfers, but we at the very least we do see only 3. This already makes me feel a little bit better about everything. And we see an army that's standing right there. Also, I don't see any more probes coming down. I see more army coming down. Not only are we scouting composition, we're also scouting probe count. I see no fucking probes other than 3. So, and now we have 9. That makes me feel like the lead is back going in our favor again. Like, I know the lead is for me again because he just doesn't physically have that shit. And then now, you know, my Phoenix is about to expire. We've already scouted that what we really wanted to scout. We scouted his overall base count, which was the same as ours, but we once again confirmed we have more probes than him. Even after we took losses, and you want to know why that happened? We were even a second ago, but he neglected probes again, and he didn't build them, and we did, so he fell behind again. So we know he's going for charge lot. We know he's going for Archon style, like Archon gateway compositions. We know he's going for a third. We know this game is kind of going normal. These batteries are doing a great job at keeping probes alive again. But we're just spending money as we get it. And we're, like I said before, we're going charge lot, Archon, Immortal. And we could totally scout again right now if we wanted to. With another sentry. And we're taking a 4th base. 4th base is being had. He sees it with the Oracle. His Oracle just spotted that. But look at the worker count, guys. These are the habits that we've talked about. These are the, and again, look at the workers killed. I am ahead by 20 probes and I have killed 0. He's killed 17. So I should already be at 87 probes if I didn't lose any. This is, again, this is why I say macro is still one of the most important things, even in plat. That's why you still should not micro in plat, because these things will happen to you where you always put yourself behind. In his mind, he might be thinking, I fucking killed 17 probes, bro. I killed 17 probes. And he's like, why am I so far behind? What the fuck? It's because he's not building them. And we're maxed out. We ended up maxing out this game a little bit before 80, but we do make probes again up to 80. And here comes the fight. Also, he's killing probes too right now too. So, let me say this. Right now, in plat, I do want you guys to kind of look at the army initially and just kind of gauge if you think it's going to be good or bad. And I will say this. This was a bad fight for us. The only reason why we won this fight is because I warped in units during the fight. And he didn't have the ability to do that because he doesn't have a pylon or a prism nearby. But I would have lost this fight if I did not warp in units during the fight. So macro won the fight for us again. And here's why. We took a fight where we had a concave that was about this big right here, from the nexus down to the wall. That was our concave. His concave was from the wall up a bit further, up to like the gas. So his concave was just longer. His concave was there. Our concave was there. This is not good. And what happened was all of my immortals and some of my stalkers got stuck behind my army and could not help at all because our concave was too small. So if this happens to you in the future, one of the things you can do to fix this is you can move your army north above your nexus and then green box like a good chunk of it and send it south below your nexus. Or you can literally just evacuate your probes and let the nexus die, because this is actually a terrible place to fight considering concave size. It's really up to you to decide what you want to do with that, but you need to start analyzing things like that and be like, this might be a really stupid place to fight or not. Because watch how little our army gets to fight compared to his. Look at my army getting stuck right here. His entire, other than like 2 Archons in the back, his entire army is fighting. I have like a third of my army behind my front line here that's like stuck, just running around like dipshits. Derpy immortals. But again, we win this fight because we warp in zealots during the fight. Macro wins again. And then once again, after the fight's over, let's go ahead and quickly look at production. We only have immortals being produced for the other Protoss. We have probes and immortals being produced for us and upgrades. But now let's look at this. 25 workers have died, and we're still maintaining a lead of 9. Or 8, sorry. 8. Or 12. Jeez, what? Chat, shut up. Don't look at that. I don't know why I did that math so bad. Oh my god. My brain is melted already. It's 12. Jesus. 12. Final answer. But now look at it. It's going up. It's going up. Look at the probe count for us and look at the probe count for him. His does not change. It just stays. Look at ours. Now it's 20. These are important things that you need to really manage. His probe count still has not changed. Now it's, what is that, 25. Okay, it finally changed. He's making probes again. You gotta really respect, and now we're done, by the way. Now probe count doesn't matter for us because now it's like at that point where we're going full fucking force into economy. Like it's there already. So now all of our money is just being dumped into army. So we have like maximum fucking production. He does not have maximum production off of 58. Let's just throw that out there. He does. That's impossible. He does not. So he's definitely having a struggle. He's on struggle street. Which means he's going to have less supply. And at this point now, at this point in this game, all that matters now is it's no longer like probe count and stuff like this. That doesn't, it's kind of, that phase is over. All that matters now is where are your newer bases and what does your current army look like? Like, are you teching into something different or are you like, where are you expanding? And again, the final thing to wrap this all up into a nice little bow tie is out of the 2 things that I just said, expansion location and current tech units that he's making, we can tell that he's not going to transition his tech units for this number 1 reason. He's behind. That's it. If you're behind and you lose an army and I'm ahead and I remake an army, and in the process of me remaking an army when I'm ahead spends all of my money, I know that you don't have enough money to remake to 200 supply as well, so you're struggling to get back there in the first place. That is what that means. So him tech switching is out of the question. It's just invalid. And how do I know I'm ahead? For again, if you're like, wait, ViBE, so how do you know you're ahead again? Because I just scouted the map again, And I went, you have a 4th base. And when I looked at this 4th base, look at this 4th base. It's looking pretty sad. Okay, that's not looking like the best 4th. Look at our 4th base. It's fully saturated. Look at our 5th base. It's almost fully saturated. Again, we're not making more probes, so all we're doing at this point now is transferring inefficient probes. But we have a 5th base that has even better saturation than his 4th does. This means our probe count is dominating his probe count, and our zealot literally ran by it. This is our zealot right here, by the way. It's still running into his base. It's going to die right now because it's at his army. But we just confirmed his probe count is not good, and he has less bases than us as well. And on top of that, we also have static D to deal with shit like if you were to send DTs around the map, or something random to try to catch up in some weird way. Like, we're covered in so many ways in this game. So he's kind of stuck in the position that he's in. And we know this, so now all we have to do is find expansions and bully his ass, repeatedly smash his expansions, and there's nothing he can do. He just dies, because we just throw a bank at him, basically, at this point. We just take a bag of money and smash him with it over the head. It doesn't matter if some of my coins fall out of it. $100 falls out over there, it's fine. We have so much money more than he does, it doesn't matter. And now we scout forward with a couple zealots just to see if his army is waiting for us. It's not, so we run up the ramp. If his army was sitting right here, we would not commit to this ramp. We would maybe go to this ramp instead. But if his army's over here, we can commit to this ramp because now we get a nice engagement. This is kind of what I'm talking about, where I talked about this with Concave. It's stupid to take back. Sometimes if you have a fight where, like, let's say his army's all spread out nicely on the top of the ramp, and I'm like, let's attack up the ramp into some terrible fight. That's a great way for him to get back in the game if I do shit like that. But if I just send like 1 or 2 zealots forward just to find out where he is, if he's standing here, I could even, and let's say he even has something here that's annoying, I could even run all the way over here and go into his natural. It doesn't matter. I just want to set up a fight where I'm going to get a nice engagement. Or I could even run back and go this way and run down the hallway. But yeah, we just have a lot more money than he does to work with. So when his bank gets spent, he's not going to be even close to maxing out. And when our bank gets spent, we're going to be maxed repeatedly. Like, we're probably not even going to be able to spend all of our bank. Okay, well, we lost everything. I couldn't remember if I lost everything or not. We got disruptor shotted so fucking hard there a few times. But again, even though I lost my army, is there anything to be worried about right now? This is another level of logic that makes sense for knowing if you're ahead or behind. If we just killed his newest expansion and we just confirmed there's no other expansions on the map, really quickly, let's take a detour, if you will. Look at my main base. This main base is looking pretty shit. This main base is looking like it's about to be dried up. Let's look at my natural. Same thing. This natural has a little bit more, but it's looking pretty bad. It's looking like I'm about to be mined out of here in the next couple minutes as well. If I see this, and this does not only apply to mirror matches, this applies to everyone if you just keep a tab on how they expanded. If I see my bases are about to mine out, okay? Let's think about this and go, okay, well, what is his bases? What about his bases? You know, he's Protoss. Okay, again, mirror match doesn't matter, but he expanded. We expanded. Let's look at his main. He's depleted on the gases. His mineral patches are about to mine out really soon. Let's look at his natural. His natural's looking pretty sad. This means his economy sucks. He really needs an expansion. Look at his other base. This base is nice still for now, but he's mining off of one base. Like, he's realistically only mining off of one base. So he is not going to have any fucking potential to, like, remax anytime soon because we both just took a lot of losses. So when we build an army again, we should know, if we just keep the pressure on, this guy is absolutely dead because he just doesn't really have a lot of money going on. Again, look at the mining. We're mining triple his gas and double his resources. Minerals. Because look at our mining. Good, good. We got another base started over here. Good, good, good. Like, nothing is just... We don't have... like oversaturated, inefficient bases. Which again should give us confidence that we're going to crush his army in this fight. And we just A-moved it. We warped in units on it and we A-moved it. And now he's getting desperate and he's like, he's doing the exact fix that he needs to do. He's doing exactly what he needs to do to somewhat fix this problem. He's going, shit. Oh god, I have like no good mining going on. Even my my natural, or sorry, my third base is about to start mining out. Like this patch has 5 resources at it. It's gone. He's starting to lose patches at his third base now. Look at his main. Like fucking main looks terrible still. Look at his natural. Natural is getting really close to mining out as well. His bases are not looking good. So he's like, I gotta expand more, fix this. And while he's doing it, he's like, I also gotta keep my opponent distracted so I can hopefully keep him defensive for long enough to remax. But this is the great thing about having a lot of gateways, guys. You're like, hey, oh shit, look at this attack. Uh-oh. Oh, just kidding, it doesn't matter. We just made a fuckload of zealots of our own, and now problem solved. And then, yeah, just keeping the pressure on, and then the game's over at this point, obviously. Because we know out of everything added up together, we know that we're ahead. If you're ahead like 4 times in a row as you check through the game, it's really hard to lose that lead. Whenever you guys watch a game of StarCraft, this is the last thing I'm going to say, and we'll end it here. Whenever you guys watch a game of StarCraft, and it's a really back and forth game where one player looks like they're gaining a lead, and then something happens, and that player loses the lead. And now the other player starts gaining a lead, and then something happens, and they lose the lead. And they keep alternating it over and over and over and over. That is what makes a really, quote-unquote, good game of StarCraft, where it's back and forth. It's just like, holy shit, both these players are doing lots of damage to each other. You know what makes not a good game of StarCraft? When one player is ahead, and the next time it gets checked up on, I'm still ahead. The next time you check up on them, I'm still ahead. The next time you check up on them, I'm still ahead. And now it's like the last 10 minutes, I've been ahead the entire time. That is like one guy who can literally just like squish a fucking bug at that point. And it's like, well, game's over now. If you can analyze that you're ahead repeatedly, like you should be so fucking confident that like you can just control everything. And it's in ways that we've discussed all throughout this. It's all these ways we've discussed. But yeah, like if you're ahead multiple times in a row, like you just fucking win. It's really hard to throw a game at that point. And boom! Platinum 2! Nice. So hopefully this helps you guys kind of like have more of a read on a game in general and more understanding as like what the hell's going on. We'll keep talking about cost of units. Try to get you guys understanding that more. Because that is very important to know. Like, again, it'd be like saying this, okay? This is actually something that I think would be a nice example. We'll talk about math, okay? If someone says to you, 10 plus 5 equals what? You know what 10 means, and you know what 5 means. So you have a good understanding of what the fuck the answer is to that. You're like, okay, yeah. That makes sense. I can understand that logic. Like I've learned that. Each one of these numbers has a meaning to me. But if I tell you 2 stalkers plus a sentry equals how many Thors? And you're like, oh, I don't, what? What? I don't fucking, are you kidding me? What the fuck does that mean? Well, that's fucking something you need to figure out. If you have no idea what units cost in StarCraft, imagine trying to do math if you didn't know what any numbers meant. Imagine if someone said to you, what is 7 plus 10? And you're like, 4? I don't fucking know. Kidding me? How am I supposed to know that? They don't mean anything. It's just numbers. And just throw it out there. 2 stalkers and a sentry equal 1 Thor. A stalker is 125 minerals and 50 gas. 2 stalkers is 250 minerals and 100 gas. 1 sentry is 50 minerals and 100 gas. 250 and 100 plus 50 and 100 is 300 and 200, and that is exactly what a Thor costs. So knowing things like that, it makes you actually understand what the fuck you're looking at a lot better. Like you actually can comprehend what things mean resource-wise. So you should dedicate things like this to memory if you want to really understand what the hell you're scouting and what you're looking at. Anyways, it doesn't always have to be as complicated as like math problems like 2 stalkers in a century. But just knowing what they cost gives you a well-rounded idea of what is capable of your opponent. Knowing what they're capable of is what the idea I'm trying to get here. Like, for instance, okay? Again, let me say this loud. This is the final example, then we're done for real. This has been a long promo screen. If I tell you, what is 284 plus 260? You don't have to give me an exact number on that, but you still will probably have a rough idea what that is. You're like, okay, 284 plus 260, I don't know. It's probably going to be something around like 550? I don't know. Like fucking ballpark it. That's fine. That's totally fine. It doesn't have to be exact, just like you don't have to exactly count the exact gas of your opponent. It doesn't have to be exact. But if you can at the very least go, he's got like fucking 8 stalkers. That's, you know, roughly, and he's only mined like 500 gas. That's roughly all of his gas. Like you should just know you just know ballparks of things. Okay? You have to have some type of a fucking idea as to what your opponent is capable of. And that's the only way you'll ever be able to read a build. So start trying to learn these things and it will help you a lot. Anyways, thank you for watching. Little bit of information there to keep your brains working. But I'll see you guys in Platinum 2. Thank you for watching. I'll subscribe if you liked it, and goodbye.